Chapter 1820. Shi-Man was 15 years old when she first met Liang Yu. At that time, the Liang family was still a very large vampire hunter family with a strict hierarchy and an orderly hierarchy. Liang Yu was the young master of the Liang family. That was the first time Liang Yu came out with the elders of the family to hunt vampires who killed humans. There were a few groups of vampires who were trapped in one place. Because of his nervousness, Liang Yu was captured by a vampire. The vampire was injured and wanted to drink blood to replenish his energy. Unfortunately, the vampire barged into the tree where Shi-Man was resting. The young man was pressed to the ground by the vampire. His eyes were wide open and he could see the red figure lying on top of him and the golden hair that fell through the leaves. Shi-Man was woken up by the noise. She turned around and looked down. Her gaze met the young man's eyes. Shi-Man had seen many humans, both good-looking and not so good-looking, but none of them could give her such a feeling. She jumped down from the tree and the rose rain fell silently. The vampire who was lying on top of the young man was shocked by the sudden rain of roses. He looked up at Shi-Man. "You're disturbing me." Shi-Man's charming voice pierced through the falling petals and entered the vampire's ears. The vampire was so scared that he rolled down from the young man's body and ran away. Shi-Man did not chase after the vampire. She looked down at the young man and pinched his chin with a smile. "Little brother, you're so handsome." Liang Yu's eyes were filled with fear. Who are you?" Shi-Man pinched his chin and sized him up. "My name is Shi-Man, the one who saved your life. Little brother, do you want to repay me with your body?" Liang Yu knew that she was not human. A human would not let a vampire leave without saying a word. The rain of roses in the sky almost revealed her identity. She was a vampire. A vampire with a high status. Little brother, are you not willing to repay me with your body?" Shi-Man suddenly moved closer to him. Liang Yu stabbed with his dagger. Shi-Man was surprised and quickly pressed his hand back to the ground. She sat on top of him and the dagger fell to the side. "You're a vampire hunter." Shi-Man's voice suddenly turned cold. "Coming out at such a young age. Aren't you afraid of being eaten?" Liang Yu felt extremely humiliated being pressed down in such a position. "If you want to kill me, do whatever you want." Shi-Man lifted the corner of Liang Yu's shirt, which was embroidered with an ink-colored light. She clicked her tongue lightly. "I don't dare to casually kill people from the Liang family." Shi-Man didn't dare to kill anyone from the Liang family, but she took Liang Yu away. She didn't do anything to Liang Yu. She just wanted Liang Yu to show off the Liang family's skills. However, Liang Yu was only learning theoretical postures at that time. He had too little practical experience and had nothing to show off. Shi-Man locked him up for a few days before letting him go. Liang Yu was still in disbelief when he left. "You're letting me go just like that?" Shi-Man was dressed in a fiery red cheongsam that extended all the way to her thighs. She swayed her long, fair legs and twirled her dazzling blonde hair with her fingers with a seductive smile. "If you're willing to stay and be my food, I welcome you with open arms." Liang Yu was so scared that he left without looking back. That was the first time Shi-Man met Liang Yu. The second time was 3 years later, when Liang Yu was 18 years old. The 15-year-old boy had already grown into a man who could take charge of everything. He led the Liang family to hunt down an evil vampire. In the forest, Shi-Man's fiery red cheongsam and blonde hair were very eye-catching. Liang Yu immediately saw her and it brought back very bad memories from 3 years ago. Shi-Man leaned against a bush and shielded the vampire behind her. "I haven't seen you in 3 years. I didn't expect you to become so powerful." Shi-Man grabbed Liang Yu again. "What do you want?" Liang Yu was tied to a tree. Shi-Man walked back and forth in front of him. Her dress swayed, revealing her fair and slender legs. Shi-Man paused and supported her chin with her hands. "I don't know what I want to do either. Why don't you tell me what I can do?" Liang Yu choked. The 18-year-old him was completely different from the 15-year-old him. He asked, "Do you have a grudge against the Liang family?" Shi-Man replied, "I don't think so." Since you don't have a grudge, the Liang family won't be enemies with vampires who didn't break the rules. Why do you keep capturing me? Liang Yu's voice was slightly angry. Because I'm bored. Liang Yu didn't know how to answer. Shi-man tied Liang Yu up for a long time. She didn't do anything to him. She only chatted with him. Liang Yu had never seen Shi-man suck blood. Even when he tried to escape and hurt himself, she didn't show any desire. She was different from other vampires. Shi-man only let him go when the Liang family came looking for him. That was the second time Shi-man interacted with Liang Yu. The third time was 4 years later when Liang Yu was 22 years old. The males of the Liang family could move alone after they turned 20 years old. Shi-man was at a nightclub. No, it should be called a karaoke hall at that time. She stood on the second floor and watched Liang Yu hug and entangle with a woman. When he finally left, Shi-man followed him. That was probably the first time Shi-man saw Liang Yu kill a vampire. His movements were skillful and ruthless. Now you look like a vampire hunter. Shi-man's appearance was always accompanied by a rain of roses. Liang Yu knew who it was when the rain of roses fell, not to mention her unique voice. You're really haunting me. Liang Yu looked at Shi-man. It was hard to tell whether his expression was filled with disgust or something else. Shi-man stepped on the rose petals and walked to Liang Yu. Her smile was as charming as ever. Her gaze seemed to be able to seduce people. She gently breathed out, "Little brother, are you afraid of me?" "Why should I be afraid of you?" Liang Yu didn't back down and looked directly at Shi-man. "I don't know. They're all afraid of me." Shi-man replied, "I'm different from them." Liang Yu had been fighting vampires for a long time. Shi-man suddenly felt that he was quite interesting. Hence, she started to appear by his side. Occasionally, when she was in a good mood, she would help him catch vampires. The grudge between him and Jing Mu was formed at that time. Although Liang Yu killed vampires who committed crimes, he wouldn't let an innocent vampire go if they were together. Jing Mu found Liang Yu because of this. Jing Mu and Liang Yu couldn't come to an agreement and fought. Shi-man helped Liang Yu. Although she didn't win against Jing Mu, she didn't lose either. Jing Mu was a stubborn person. He stopped Liang Yu several times. Shi-man didn't have much interaction with him at first. However, because of this, Shi-man didn't like Jing Mu. Jing Mu always whispered to her that vampires wouldn't have a good ending if they got too close to humans. Perhaps this sentence provoked Shi-man. Anyway, Shi-man, this crazy person, was always looking for trouble with Jing Mu. Especially when Jing Mu got close to humans. She wanted to finish the chapter in one go, but she didn't. Despair. Chapter 1821. The first time she met Liang Yingying was on Liang Yu's birthday. It was Liang Yu's 24th birthday, and the Liang family had prepared a birthday banquet for him. Shi-man prepared a gift for Liang Yu. The banquet had already ended, and Liang Yu was talking to Liang Yingying in the backyard of the Liang family. Shi-man snuck in and overheard their conversation. Liang Yu confessed to Liang Yingying, but Liang Yingying rejected him in shock and ran back to the Liang family's mansion. After Liang Yingying left, Liang Yu sat alone on a chair in the backyard. Shi-man stepped on the rain of flowers and landed in front of him. She used a charming voice to rub salt on Liang Yu's wound. "Little brother, so you like your sister? This is a big taboo in the human world." Liang Yu was like a big boy whose thoughts were exposed. He revealed a panicked expression. You eavesdropped on my conversation with Yingying." "Hey, little brother, I didn't eavesdrop. I just happened to hear it." "You." Liang Yu knew that it was wrong of him to like Liang Yingying, but he couldn't control himself. Now that a vampire knew about it, he panicked. It was the first time he spoke to Shi-man in a soft tone, "Don't tell anyone." He didn't want Liang Yingying's reputation to be damaged. His confession today was the result of his impulsive drinking. He regretted it now. "Okay." Shi-man pointed her finger at Liang Yu's chest and smiled. "I can keep it a secret, but..." "But what?" Liang Yu pushed her hand away and asked with a frown, What condition do you have? Shi-Man sat on him and pinched his chin. You have to listen to me. Liang Yu's expression changed after being touched by a woman. Get off me. Do you really want me to get off you? I'm going to scream. Shi-Man threatened Liang Yu. Liang Yu's face turned green. Under Shi-Man's threat, he didn't dare to move. Shi-Man just leaned on him quietly and didn't do anything out of line. When someone came to look for him, Shi-Man disappeared without a trace. He thought that Shi-Man had left, but when he returned to his room, he found her lying on his bed. Her fiery red dress was hanging by the edge, her fair legs were slightly bent, and her blonde hair was spread under her body. She was smiling at him. Shi-Man had occupied his life in an overbearing and arrogant manner. She would appear whenever no one could see her. Liang Yu did not know what she wanted to do, but he did not like this kind of life. That night, he drank some wine. When he returned to his room, he saw Shi-Man sitting by the bed. His mind exploded. He slammed the door shut and strode towards Shi-Man. Shi-Man was pinned down on the bed and he glared at her viciously. Will you only be satisfied after sleeping with me? I can satisfy you, but don't ever appear in front of me again. Do you know how much I hate you? Shi-Man looked at him in shock. Do you hate me? Yes, I hate you. Liang Yu gritted his teeth. What right do you have to take over my life so brazenly? What right do you have? Shi-Man did not speak for a long time. Liang Yu steeled his heart and leaned over to kiss her. This was the first time Liang Yu was so close to a girl, so his kissing skills were not good. It was not Shi-Man's first time, but it was too long ago, so she did not remember. Due to Liang Yu's anger and alcohol, he could not remember how he undid her clothes. However, she pushed him away at the last moment. Shi-Man used her clothes to cover her body and jumped off the bed. I, Shi-Man, am not a substitute for anyone. You ask me why I am pestering you? Because I like you. After she finished speaking, she disappeared from the room in an instant. Shi-Man did not appear in his life again. It was as if she had never existed. Shi-Man returned to the forest again. Without Liang Yu, the entire world seemed to have quietened down. Just like the few hundred years of unchanging time, it was silent and boring. Shi-Man did not remember how long the silence lasted. Liang Yu appeared in front of her again. He was being chased by a few bloodlings and was covered in injuries. Shi-Man watched as he was caught by the bloodlings and beaten up. When he was about to die, Shi-Man walked towards them, stepping on the rose petals on the ground. Why are you beating him? Shi-Man asked the bloodlings. Your Excellency Shi-Man. The bloodlings saw Shi-Man and bowed respectfully. Liang Yu did not distinguish between right and wrong. He went around killing us bloodlings. Shi-Man looked at Liang Yu. After not seeing him for a while, Liang Yu seemed to have changed into a different person. Shi-Man brought Liang Yu away again. While Liang Yu was recuperating, she heard that Liang Yingying had died. Because of this, Liang Yu became so crazy. Liang Yu wanted to revive Liang Yingying. She did not know where he got the news that the longevity water could revive people. The longevity water cannot revive humans. Shi-Man leaned on the chair and looked at the person on the bed. It is useless even if you get it. Liang Yu did not believe her and insisted on looking for the longevity water. Shi-Man brought him into the ancient castle and told him the location of the longevity water. She also lured the other bloodlings away. Liang Yu really got the longevity water. However, on the way back, it was unknown whether he did it intentionally or not, but he lost Shi-Man. When Shi-Man found him, the longevity water was gone and Liang Yu was heavily injured. The second time he went to get the longevity water, he met Qing Yan. Even Shi-Man couldn't defeat Qing Yan, let alone Liang Yu. In order to protect Liang Yu, Shi-Man could only stop Qing Yan. Shi-Man did not know what happened to the Liang family after that because she was heavily injured by Qing Yan and fell into a deep sleep. When she woke up, it was already 50 years later. The Liang family had already been wiped out. She did not even know who was involved in the massacre, how Liang Yu died, or who killed him. After that, she met Shi Shang and then Liang Sei, Liang Se, this girl. She looked exactly like Liang Yingying. Later, she confirmed that Liang Se had Liang Yingying's memories. Although it was not complete, the main memories were still there. She was searching for the truth behind the Liang family massacre. Shiman did not hate Liang Yingying. Of course, she did not like Liang Yingying. The truth behind the Liang family massacre gradually surfaced. Liang Se seemed to only be searching for the truth. After finding the truth, she lost the motivation to live in this world. When she died, Shiman was standing not far away, watching her die. When a person was determined to die, no one could stop them. Shiman did not know whether she was Liang Se, Liang Yingying, or both. Shi Shang once asked her if she really liked Liang Yu. She did not answer because she did not know how to answer. If she did not like him, why would she be willing to go against the entire bloodlings and bring Liang Yu into the ancient castle to steal the longevity water? If she liked Liang Yu, why did she not feel sad at all? The person I like might not be Liang Yu, but he added a touch of color to my long and boring life. Shi Man. Chapter 1822. Everyone knew that the mountain Qing Yuan had been to would collapse. Shi Shang woke up in darkness. Her skin was stuck to the cold ground. She could see nothing but darkness, as if she was locked in a dark and narrow place. Her body was in pain, as if knives were cutting her skin back and forth. The pain went deep into her bones. Pain, pain, pain. She didn't need to touch to know that there were many wounds on her body. Her whole body was sticky and uncomfortable. The tip of her nose was filled with the smell of blood. She was so weak that she didn't even have the strength to get up. Shi Shang lay in the same place for a long time. When she felt a little strength in her body, she got up from the ground and sat next to her. Her back was against the cold and wet rock. She felt that every movement was like someone was pulling at her wounds. Damn the sun. I'm so angry. Am I going to die again? Shi Shang breathed heavily, as if this could relieve the pain on her body. It was very quiet all around. There was no wind or other sounds. She should be in a sealed space. First, she received the memory. The original owner was called Qing Yuan. She was a disciple of the Flowing Light sect. She followed her master down the mountain to help the disciples of the Spirit Crane sect pass the level. It was impossible to help others pass the level for no reason. Qing Yuan's master owed the Spirit Crane sect a favor. This time, the Spirit Crane sect asked for help, so the master sent them to help. Qing Yuan was the junior sister in the sect. She was the kind of person that everyone doted on. The senior brothers and sisters in the sect were also willing to give in to her, causing her to develop a willful character. This time, Qing Yuan was as willful as usual. However, the other party's team was not happy and gave in to her. They had several conflicts with the original owner. Before they reached the destination, they had already quarreled. On the contrary, Ruan Gmo was praised by the other party. Ruan Gmo was a girl with some facial defects. She had a big birthmark on her face. At first glance, it was a little scary. She was also famous in the sect. They all bullied her for fun. Except for being willful, the original owner was not bad. She never bullied her. Maybe she looked down on Ruan Gmo and felt that bullying her would lower her status, so she didn't want to do anything to her. Ruan Gmo was very popular in the Spirit Crane sect. In contrast, the original owner's arrogance and rudeness was disgusting. Ruan Gmo did not know if it was intentional or not, but she could always let the people of the Spirit Crane sect see the arrogant side of the original owner. This was still a small matter. After entering the trial, there were traps everywhere. The original owner was provoked by Ruan Gmo. She didn't listen to her senior brothers and sisters and took another path. The people of Lu Guang sect couldn't leave the original owner behind, so they could only follow her. The people of the Spirit Crane sect had no choice but to follow. At first, they walked smoothly and didn't encounter any traps, which made the original owner very proud to show off to Ruan Gmo. However, at this moment, a mechanism was suddenly triggered, causing the deaths of 2 people. The original owner was frightened. After that, they used up all their good luck. Along the way, they encountered countless traps. As more and more people died, the original owner was completely frightened and had to rely on others to protect her. After that, they encountered a sword array. The original owner did not follow them and was left in the sword array. But the original owner could feel that someone was plotting against her, and Ruan GMO was behind her. The original owner's memory of what happened in the sword array was a mess. In short, when she came back, she was already lying here. The original owner's last wish was probably to teach Ruan GMO a lesson. Shi Shang stretched out his fingers and scratched back and forth in the air. He sighed. The original owner's wish was too unambitious. Why didn't she say that she wanted to conquer the world? She had no reason to happily destroy the world. Host, your thoughts are very scary. The system popped out. Haven't my thoughts always been scary? Shi Shang put down his hand. You only know now? No, I knew it a long time ago. Its program was set to let it come out now to remind her. So, host, ignore me. I'm just saying. Shi Shang. Buttface was getting more and more timid. Follow the heart. In this world, the original owner was also wrong, but it had nothing to do with her. She was playing this role now. Even if the original owner was a big devil who killed people without blinking an eye, she still had to do it to clear her name. Then the question was, what the hell was this place? How was I going to get out? Shi Shang stopped his bleeding first. He played a few single-player games in the dark. After waiting for the medicine to take effect, he slowly stood up from the ground. This was a small pit, no more than 3 meters in diameter. She should have fallen from above. This was probably the sword array. She didn't know if this pit was accidentally dug or if it was set up like this under the sword array. If the female lead came to this place, she would definitely get a peerless martial art or meet an old grandpa. However, Shi Shang held up the luminous pearl and looked around. She didn't even see a cockroach, let alone a peerless martial art grandpa. It was her fault that she didn't have a female lead. She had to think of a way to get out. Senior brother, junior sister Qingyuan. Next to a beautiful stream, a group of people were sitting or lying down. They all looked very tired, and some were even injured. At this time, a group of people wearing green clothes were talking. These people were the disciples of the Lu Guang sect. After a few days of breaking through, they finally entered here. On the other side, the people wearing white clothes embroidered with spirit cranes were the disciples of the Spirit Crane sect. They also lost a lot of people and were now recuperating. How are we going to explain when we go back? The disciples of the Lu Guang sect looked ugly. Although there were disciples who felt that Qing Yuan didn't come out, she deserved it. She caused so much trouble along the way, but how were they going to explain it to their sect? One must know that Qing Yuan was the elder's favorite disciple. But there were also people who were sincerely worried. It's all because of Ruan GMO. Someone stared hatefully at the girl sitting a little far away from the crowd. The girl had her head down. When she heard someone say her name, she raised her head, revealing a delicate and pretty face. When she met the disgusted eyes of the person who spoke, she immediately lowered her head. If it wasn't for her, junior sister Qing Yuan wouldn't have this. Ugly freak. Junior sister Qing Yuan died because of her. Yes, it's this ugly freak's fault. Junior sister Qing Yuan usually doesn't talk to her, but this time she went against junior sister Qing Yuan. It's clear that she wants to harm junior sister Qing Yuan. Junior sister Qing Yuan. I didn't protect her well. When I go back, I will ask the elder for forgiveness. I'm also responsible. Ruan GMO sat quietly on the side, and there was a bit of ridicule in the depths of her lowered eyes. These people were afraid of being condemned when they went back, so they pushed the blame to her. Ruan GMO lowered her face even more. Her long hair covered the other side of her face, and one could vaguely see the horrifying bruises on that side of her face. At this moment, rumble. What's going on? Is there an earthquake? The ground suddenly trembled. Everyone looked around in confusion. Because of the tremors, the stream was making violent sounds. Everyone was alert. Asterisk hashtag today's stone immortal peach flavored ticket hashtag lonely fishing in the cold river. Looking back at the golden age. Full hope. Little cuties who haven't been flipped, please pay more attention to your name. Look at the name I flip every day, so please change your name to a nice sounding one. Of course, you don't need to change your name if it lowers the winning rate. Chapter 1823. Collapse, collapse. The mountain behind them was quickly collapsing, and the rocks and trees were rolling down. No one expected the mountain to suddenly collapse. It was not until the rolling rocks were in front of them that they thought of running away. After running for a long distance, everyone breathed a sigh of relief and looked at the still collapsing mountain with fear. This was the mountain they had just broken through. It was not easy to break through and they lost so many people, but the next second, it collapsed. Collapsed. What's going on? Why did the mountain suddenly collapse? I don't know. I don't know. It was so scary. It suddenly collapsed. Everyone was talking at once. At this moment, someone suddenly pointed to the sky and shouted, "Look, there's someone." Among the splashing rocks, a cyan shadow rushed out. It's junior sister Qing Yuan. The people of Lu Guang's sect were the first to recognize the person in the sky. They had lived together for so many years, so it would be strange if they didn't recognize her. A disciple of Lu Guang's sect said happily, "Great, I said that junior sister Qingyuan is blessed by the heavens. How could something happen to her?" Another disciple also said, "It's good that junior sister Qingyuan is fine." Ruan Jima stood on the edge of the crowd and looked at the person who swooped down from the sky. There was a faint cold light in her eyes. She didn't die. Shi Shang stepped on the iron sword and stopped above the group of people and slowly fell. Everyone seemed to notice the iron sword under Shi Shang's feet, and the expression on their faces was wonderful. They had never seen junior sister Qing Yuan use this sword. Was it obtained from the place where they broke through the array? It looked so powerful. It was a blessing in disguise. Many people in the crowd began to be jealous. This sword was not an ordinary item at first glance, and this place was not where ordinary people lived. The things here were naturally not simple. Shi Shang jumped down from the iron sword and reached out to hold the hilt. The iron sword followed her movements and drew a beautiful arc in the air, heading straight in the direction of Ruan Jima. Ruan Jima sensed the danger and looked up in astonishment. The iron sword with a fierce momentum was pressing down. The airflow caused by the sword's qi lifted her hair, revealing the terrifying birthmark that was blocked. No one had expected the Shi Shang to attack people as soon as he came down. They were all stunned. Seeing that the iron sword was about to cut into Ruan Jima's body, a tyrannical force came from afar and hit the iron sword. The iron sword made a buzzing sound and deviated a little. Ruan Gmo seemed to be frightened. She fell to the ground and rolled to the side, successfully avoiding the iron sword. Junior sister, calm down." Only then did the disciples of the Colored Light sect react and rush forward to stop Shi Shang. "Junior sister, you can't kill her. No matter what, she's still a fellow disciple of our sect. If you kill her, people will say that you're killing fellow disciples." The disciples of Lu Guang's sect persuaded Shi Shang one by one. There were still people from the Spirit Crane sect here. Ruan Gmo got along well with them along the way. If Ruan Gmo was killed, even if the people from the Spirit Crane sect stood by and did nothing, they would definitely talk about it when they went out. In the pugilistic world, the biggest taboo was killing one another. Shi Shang stabbed the iron sword into the ground. "Who said I was going to kill her? If you didn't kill her, then you rushed over to her as soon as you came down. You were so aggressive. If you didn't want to kill her, then what did you want to do? Scare her? Scare her." The disciples of Lu Guang's sect. "Junior sister, are you joking with us?" Ruan Gmo had already climbed up from the ground and was looking at Shi Shang. When someone looked over, she immediately lowered her eyes, looking like she was being bullied. It's good that Miss Qing Yuan came back safely. The people from the Spirit Crane sect couldn't stand it anymore and stood up to smooth things over. At that time, it was too chaotic in the sword array. No one noticed that Miss Qing Yuan would suddenly walk in the wrong direction. We were a little too far away and didn't rescue her in time. Fortunately, Miss Qing Yuan is fine. These words were implying that the original owner of the body walked randomly and didn't follow the people in front. She deserved it. Don't be so weird. If someone didn't push I, would I have walked in the wrong direction? Shi Shang directly retorted. Everyone, how could they answer this? How could someone speak so directly? Shi Shang looked at the people from the Spirit Crane sect with arrogance between his brows. His whole person had a natural domineering aura. The Lu Guang sect was originally here to help, not to be the subordinates of the Spirit Crane sect. They were good, ordering the people of the Lu Guang sect around. When they left the Lu Guang sect, the sect master told them to listen to the command of the Spirit Crane sect. The others followed the sect master's words, but how could the original owner hold back? It was normal to have a conflict with the Spirit Crane sect. The little princess that everyone was holding was suddenly being ordered around. No one could stand it. Who are you? A voice filled with vicissitudes of life came from afar. Everyone was shocked and looked up at the sky. An old man with an immortal aura stepped on the air and stood on a treetop not far away, looking at them with his hands behind his back. Shi Shang looked down at the iron sword. The power that opened the iron sword just now was from this old man. Excuse me, are you Miracle Dr. Hua Yang? The people of the Spirit Crane sect were very excited to see the old man. I'm a disciple of the Spirit Crane sect. I'm here to ask the Miracle Doctor to save our senior brother. The old man snorted. I don't care what Spirit Crane sect you are. How dare you destroy the entire mountain? Isn't that? Get out of here. You're not welcome here. Miracle Dr. Hua Yang's face was cold. Senior. The people of the Spirit Crane sect tried to explain that they didn't destroy the mountain. However, Miracle Dr. Hua Yang didn't listen. Don't make me say it a third time. Get out of here. There were various mechanisms set up in the mountain. Only those who successfully broke through would have the chance to come in and seek medical treatment. But now, this group of people had destroyed the entire mountain. He didn't kill them, which showed his benevolence as a doctor. Senior. Miracle Dr. Hua Yang raised his hand and hit a few internal energy in front of the people of the Spirit Crane sect. A gully suddenly appeared on the ground. Get out. Let's go. Shi Shang spoke first, took out the iron sword and left. Junior sister. The people of Lu Guang sect were hesitant. Shi Shang interrupted them. Our mission is to help them break through. Now that we've broken through, do you still want to send them off? Everyone. You'll get beaten up if you talk like that. Why did it feel like Junior Sister's words were getting worse after being missing for a few days? Shi Shang left in a carefree manner. The people of Lu Guang sect looked around and finally chose to follow Shi Shang. It wasn't easy for Junior Sister to be fine. They didn't want anything to happen to her again. What's more, Junior Sister was right. They were only here to help them break through. Now that they had broken through, the rest had nothing to do with them. So it was fine to leave now. The people of Lu Guang sect soon disappeared into the bushes. Although Ruan GMO didn't want to leave, she couldn't talk to Miracle Dr. Hua Yang in this situation. She could only leave with the people of Lu Guang sect. The people of the Spirit Crane sect tried to talk to Miracle Dr. Hua Yang several times, but Miracle Dr. Hua Yang didn't listen. When Miracle Dr. Hua Yang was about to make a move, they left unwillingly. It wasn't easy to get in, but they were chased out before they could say a few words to Miracle Dr. Hua Yang. Was there anything more tragic than this? Chapter 1824. The mountain they came in from had collapsed, so they could only leave from the side. After walking for a while, they arrived at the place where they entered the mountain to break through the array. The disciples of the Lu Guang sect looked at the collapsed mountain. The scene of them entering was still vivid in their minds. How did things develop to this extent in such a short time? The people of the Spirit Crane sect also came out quickly. As soon as they saw Shi Shang, Someone rushed over angrily. Qing Yuan, how did you destroy the mountain? The reason why Miracle Dr. Huayang was so angry was definitely because the mountain had been destroyed. If not, why would they be chased out now? How would I know it was so weak? Shi Shang rolled his eyes. Besides, how I destroyed it is none of your business. There were many mechanisms in the mountain. Shi Shang also wanted to walk out, but one mechanism after another made her impatient, so she directly chopped them out. Perhaps there were too many mechanisms in the mountain and the middle was hollowed out, so the mountain was not solid at all. She just casually chopped it and the whole mountain collapsed. Is this baby's fault? Everyone. Are you showing off your badassery? No, she admitted that the mountain collapsed because of her. The people of the Spirit Crane sect said so, but in their hearts, they did not think that she really did it. They still knew Qing Yuan's strength. How could she collapse a mountain with that little strength? Everyone's eyes involuntarily looked at the iron sword in Shi Shang's hand. She did not have such an iron sword before. Did you get this sword from the mountain? A disciple of the Spirit Crane sect questioned sternly. Shi Shang turned the iron sword. No. The disciple of the Spirit Crane sect snorted. Then where did you come from? Why haven't I seen you use it before? What does it have to do with you where I came from? Did I steal it from you? In every plane, there were retards who coveted Ai's sword. The disciple of the Spirit Crane sect choked, and the person beside him immediately said, Did you bring it out from the mountain? Senior Huayang must not listen to us because of this and drove us out. Give the sword to us, we will return it to Miracle Dr. Huayang. The man spoke in a righteous manner as if he was really going to return the iron sword to Miracle Dr. Huayang. Wow, you're amazing. That old man didn't even take it back. Even if I brought it back from the mountain, he gave it to me tacitly. You're too nosy. Shi Shang smiled maliciously. Or, are you trying to snatch it from me? The colored light sex people were not fools. Little Junior Sister's sword was inexplicable, but they had all seen Little Junior Sister step on it before. No matter where Little Junior Sister got it from, it was definitely not an ordinary item. What the Spirit Crane sect was doing right now was to snatch it. They immediately shielded Shi Shang behind them. Brothers of the Spirit Crane sect, we've completed the task assigned by our sect. We'll take our leave now. Little Junior Sister, let's go. The disciples of the Glazed Light sect protected Shi Shang as they retreated. Stop. The person from the Spirit Crane sect shouted loudly. Leave that sword behind. Don't go too far. The people from the Spirit Crane sect exchanged glances and quickly surrounded the disciples of the Glazed Light sect. Oh, that's right. This world was a world where inner strength was the most important. The people of the Jianghu all focused on learning sword techniques. Various sword techniques from various sects bloomed, causing many officials and nobles to send their children to be apprenticed. Therefore, in a sect, a passerby could be a prince or a prince of a certain country. The Spirit Crane sect was now the leader of these sections. The Glazed Light sect had some fame, but it could only be considered an upper-middle sect. The reason why the people from the Spirit Crane sect found the Glazed Light sect this time was because the disciples of the Glazed Light sect knew how to learn mechanism techniques. In this world where sword techniques were supreme, most people would not choose to learn other unorthodox techniques. They believed in sword techniques. However, the Glazed Light sect was not powerful, so the sect master felt that it was not a burden to have more skills. Every disciple had to learn mechanism techniques. Gradually, the Glazed Light sect went from being unknown to having some fame. The people from the Spirit Crane sect stopped them, probably because they were confident that they could take them down. Hand over that sword. The people from the Spirit Crane sect pointed at Shi Shang. Dream on. The Glazed Light sect disciples were furious. Is this how the Glazed Light sect does things? Snatch. The winner is king. The people from the Spirit Crane sect raised their chins slightly arrogantly. Hand over the sword and we can still spare you. Other than mechanism techniques, the Glazed Light sect won't be able to fight us head-on. The people from the Spirit Crane sect were obviously very confident in their own strength. Shameless. Shameless. Today, I've seen through you big sections. To think that our sect master was so kind. You're really blind, ingrates. The glazed light sect disciples were furious. In order to help them pass the level, they lost a few disciples. It was fine if they were not grateful, but now they were blatantly snatching things. If it wasn't for your little junior sister, how could we be chased out by Miracle Dr. Huayang? That sword is your compensation. Quickly hand it over, or don't blame us for being rude. The people from the Spirit Crane sect continued to be shameless. Shi Shang pushed the disciples in front of him away and walked to the front. Little junior sister? Little junior sister, don't listen to him. We're not afraid of them. The glazed light sect disciples immediately stopped Shi Shang. The people from the Spirit Crane sect laughed. That's right. Be smart and hand over the sword. We can still spare your lives. Let alone Shi Shang, even the people from the glazed light sect didn't believe this. This group of people snatched things. Would they let them live? Shi Shang threw the iron sword over. Little junior sister. The people from the glazed light sect exclaimed. Shi Shang ignored the people from the glazed light sect and looked at the Spirit Crane sect disciple who caught the iron sword with a smile. I'm afraid you won't be able to take it. What? Shi Shang raised his hand and the iron sword turned on its own with a wang sound. The hand of the disciple holding the sword was immediately cut off. Before the disciple could even scream, he was already lying on the ground. Shi Shang's fingertips turned in the air and the iron sword floated in the air with his hand gesture. Do you really think the Spirit Crane sect is invincible in this world? How dare you snatch I's sword? If I can't kill you, I'll write my name backwards. What does this have to do with this system? Why did you get shot even when you were lying down? The Spirit Crane sect disciples came back to their senses and saw the strange iron sword flying towards them. The glazed light sect disciples stood in place and swallowed their saliva. They looked at their little junior sister standing in front of them with a strange expression. Under the attack of the iron sword, the people on the opposite side constantly screamed and fell to the ground. Almost no one could last more than 3 moves from the iron sword. That sword seemed to have a soul. Was this really their little junior sister? Even if the sect master was here, he wouldn't be so arrogant and confident, right? Chapter 1825. When they left the scene of the crime, some of them were still in a daze. On the other hand, the culprit was walking leisurely in front of them. The iron sword was nowhere to be found. All the disciples of the Spirit Crane sect were killed in the forest. Not a single one was left alive. They did not think that Shi Shang was cruel. If the disciples of the Spirit Crane sect did not die, they would be the ones who died today. Don't you think that little junior sister seems a little different? Disciple A poked Disciple B. You don't have to say that, Disciple B said. Little junior sister was different. Everyone could tell that she was different. She was no longer capricious and arrogant. She was calm and composed. Occasionally, she would emit a terrifying aura that was hard to grasp. Could little junior sister be possessed? Disciple A was worried. I feel that there's something strange about that sword. Disciple B said, could it be that little junior sister is being controlled by that sword? A powerful sword could control people. There were rumors about it in the martial arts world. The most famous were the 3 great evil swords. Until now, there were still legends about the 3 great evil swords in the martial arts world. This sword's origin is unknown. Do you think it's one of the 3 great evil swords? No way. I remember that the 3 great evil swords described in the records do not match little junior sister's sword. That was a long time ago. Who knows if the person who described it saw it with his own eyes? What if the person who recorded it heard it from someone else? That's true. The people behind continued to discuss. Shi Shang suddenly paused. The group of people looked at Shi Shang in silence. Shi Shang turned around and asked, why did the people of the Spirit Crane sect look for that miracle Dr. Huayang? The disciples of the Lu Guang sect stared at him. Don't you know? Didn't we talk about this before we set off? Everyone looked at Shi Shang's serious face. It did not seem like he was joking. Everyone was even more nervous. Little junior sister must be possessed. Everyone was silent. No one answered Shi Shang's question. After a while, a disciple coughed and said, "Because Du Sui Han of the Spirit Crane sect was poisoned. They heard that only miracle Dr. Hua Yang could cure that kind of cold poison. Therefore, they sent people to invite miracle Dr. Hua Yang to help them." Du Sui Han. This name was obviously a main character's character. Cold poison. Main character's disease. It was all a trap, a trap. I didn't expect the Spirit Crane sect to do such a thing. They're using us. They must be blind. Before this, they had thought that their little junior sister was being unreasonable. Now, it seemed that those people had gone too far. Their little junior sister had been pampered since she was young. So what if she was a little delicate? So what if they were willing to spoil her? Why should he be bullied by them? Little junior sister, if we give the people of the Spirit Crane sect, will they take revenge on us? I don't know. Little junior sister, where did you get that sword from? I picked it up. Everyone. Picked up? Why couldn't they pick it up? Iron sword. Since when did I become a scavenger? Since things had already turned out this way, the people of Colored Light sect felt that there was no point in worrying. It was better to first return to Colored Light sect and inform the sect master. Strange, have you seen Ruan GMO? A disciple suddenly looked around strangely. When everyone heard this, they immediately looked around and found that Ruan GMO had disappeared. No one noticed when she disappeared. It seemed that she had already disappeared when they were fighting with the Spirit Crane sect. Are we going to look for her? Someone asked. She was still a member of their sect. It would not be good if they did not look for her. Forget it, let's rush back to the sect first. After the incident with the Spirit Crane sect, they were now a little uncertain. Offending the Spirit Crane sect was not a good thing. Yes, returning to the sect is more important. Let's go quickly. Sects and sects were naturally on the mountain. Colored Light sect was no exception. When they climbed up, a disciple looked strangely at the mottled bloodstains on the mountain path. Did something happen? Everyone's heart sank and they sped up to the mountain. The higher they went, the more bloodstains there were. Gradually, they could see disciples wearing green sect uniforms lying on the mountain path. Their bodies had already rotted and they had been dead for at least 3 days. Everyone began to feel cold and rushed up as fast as they could. The entire Colored Light sect was bathed in blood. The sect master and elders died in the main hall. No one escaped. What happened? Great Elder. Sect master. Who did it? How could it be? Ah. The sect that used to be full of laughter and joy was now only a ground full of corpses and bloodstains. After everyone shouted and vented, they stood in the main hall, exhausted. Looking at the familiar faces of the past, pain and sadness filled the main hall. Everyone, look around, see if there are any survivors, a disciple said with difficulty. The sect was so big, maybe some disciples had hidden and escaped. Shi Shang stood outside the main hall and looked indifferently at the people inside. She had read the script from Butt-Face just now. There was no such thing in the script, so the script had changed. They searched the entire sect, but there was not a single survivor. Those that they usually saw could be found among the corpses. After a head count, except for them, there were 256 people in the sect. All of them were here. They buried everyone in the open space behind the sect. Tombstones were erected one by one, and everyone's name was engraved. After this was done, the moon was high in the sky. The cold moonlight shone on the rows of tombstones. Everyone could no longer hold back their grief and wailed loudly. The sound spread far and wide in the forest. Their voices were sorrowful and angry. No matter who did it, I will avenge our sect master and the others. That's right, since we are still alive, we must avenge them. Sect master, don't worry, We will not let you die in vain. Shi Shang stood at the back and looked coldly at these people who were swearing. After standing for a while, she turned around and left. She sat on the square, which was still covered with blood. She supported her chin with her hands, and her eyes reflected the bright moon in the sky. She looked gloomy and lonely. A young man suddenly sat down beside Shi Shang. He was silent for a while. "Junior sister, don't be too sad, Grand Elder." "Grand Elder," he said the Grand Elder several times in a row. Then he said in a hoarse voice, "Grand Elder must hope that you are alive and well." "I'm not sad." Shi Shang's voice was calm. To her, they were just a group of NPCs, props that she needed to follow the plot. What was there to be sad about? "Junior sister, if you are sad, just cry it out. I won't laugh at you." Shi Shang. She was really not sad. What the hell was she crying for? "Junior sister." The young man cried first. "Why did someone kill Master and the sect master? Why? Lu Guang's sect never makes enemies. Why? Master and the sect master were very good people. If other sects needed help, they would do their best to help. But why did such a thing happen? It's not that people will let you go just because you don't make enemies," Shi Shang said faintly. "Was it done by those bastards from the Spirit Crane sect?" The others walked over as well. "We killed their people, so they... If it was those bastards, I won't let them go." Chapter 1826. That's enough, all of you. Stop arguing. Sit down and calm down. The young man who was talking to Shi Shang calmed himself down and got up to greet the others who were about to quarrel. This young man was called Zhang Lin. Other than Shi Shang, who was the last disciple of the head elder, he was the one with the highest seniority in the group. As soon as he spoke, the others quieted down. They each found a place to sit down and stared at the ground dejectedly. Zhang Lin also sat down. "How long has it been since we separated from the Spirit Crane sect? And all the disciples of the Spirit Crane sect died there. Even if someone tipped them off, with the location of the Spirit Crane sect and our Lu Guang sect, they couldn't have arrived so many days in advance. If it's not the Spirit Crane sect, who could it be?" someone asked. They had just killed the people of the Spirit Crane sect. When they returned to the sect and saw the situation, they subconsciously felt that it was the Spirit Crane sect who did it. There was nothing wrong with that logic. Zhang Lin covered his face and shook his head. If only he knew. Everyone fell silent again. There were only 10 people left, including Shi Shang. There were only 10 people left in the sect of more than 200 people. However, they didn't even know who killed so many of their people. The wounds on their bodies were caused by a sword, but they didn't recognize the sword technique. Shi Shang got up. "Since it's already like this, don't be so dejected. Being dejected won't help you." Everyone raised their heads and looked at Shi Shang, who was standing tall and straight. "Then, what should we do?" Shi Shang glanced sideways. The cold moonlight shone on her face, coating it with a hazy halo. Everyone suddenly held their breaths. Just when they thought that Shi Shang was going to say something important, she just said lightly, "Look for food." Everyone, who would still think about food at this time? "Little junior sister, what are you thinking? The sect leader and master are all dead. If these people didn't look for food, Shi Shang could only go by himself. There was still some food in the sect. They definitely couldn't eat fresh vegetables, so they could only make some rice. Shi Shang didn't know how to cook in such a convenient environment in the modern era, let alone in this primitive era. Shi Shang stood in front of the stove. He missed his wife so much. Just as Shi Shang decided to go outside to eat, Zhang Lin walked in from outside. "Junior sister, let me do it." Shi Shang immediately put down the things in his hands and stood aside. Zhang Lin skillfully started the fire, fetched water, washed the rice, and put it into the pot. Soon, the aroma of rice wafted out from the pot. The aroma was pure and natural. For someone who had not eaten for almost a day, it was simply delicious. Zhang Lin got up and opened the lid of the pot. He took out a bowl and filled it with Shi Shang before passing it to her with a pair of chopsticks. He suddenly said, "Little junior sister, you're right. It doesn't mean that no one will be our enemy just because we don't make enemies." Shi Shang took a mouthful of rice and looked at him out of the corner of his eye. Jiang Lin had already turned around and scooped all the rice from the pot into a bowl. Shi Shang watched Jiang Lin leave with the rice. She finished the rice in her bowl in a few seconds and swayed back to the square. Some people were crying as they ate, while others were holding their bowls in a daze. They didn't even touch a grain of rice. Shi Shang looked up at the bright moon that was almost covered by dark clouds in the sky. He swayed in front of them. "Do you want revenge?" Everyone, including Jiang Lin, looked at Shi Shang at the same time. The air was still for a second. Soon, someone put down his bowl and chopsticks and stood up. He shouted loudly, "Yes! Yes! Yes!" Everyone stood up. They wanted revenge. Most of the disciples of Lu Guang's sect were orphans. They only survived because of the sect master and elders' help. Although they quarreled and fought in Lu Guang's sect and hated their fellow sect members, they were grateful to the sect master and elders. They were family. They wanted revenge for their sect master and elders. "Then let's eat." Shi Shang waved his hand. "Everyone, only when you're full will you have strength." Shi Shang said faintly, "If you want revenge, you have to live well first." As soon as he said this, they immediately sat down and picked up their bowls to eat. They were tired from the day. After eating, everyone was a little sleepy. They didn't dare to go back to where they used to live, so they slept in the square. Shi Shang carried the lantern and walked into the quiet corridor. His footsteps echoed into the darkness. This was the road to the back of the mountain. After walking down the corridor, they had to pass by the newly erected graveyard. The graveyard was newly erected, but it was still gloomy. However, the girl carrying the lantern walked casually. It was as if she wasn't walking through a graveyard, but a garden full of flowers. After walking through the graveyard for a while, she stood in front of a cave. There was a big stone in front of the cave that could be moved, but now the big stone had been split in two. Half of it fell inside, and the other half fell outside. Shi Shang stepped into the cave. The cave was a mess. In the middle of the mess stood a young man in white. His clothes were whiter than snow, and his hair was like a waterfall. When Shi Shang went in, the young man in white looked sideways. Shi Shang's heart skipped a beat. The figure of the young man in white suddenly flashed and rushed out of the cave. Shi Shang immediately reached out to stop him, but unfortunately, he couldn't stop him. The young man in white quickly disappeared into the night. Shi Shang thoughtfully stood at the entrance of the cave. After a while, she entered the cave. The cave had been rummaged through. There were some books scattered inside. This seemed to be the place where the Lu Guang sect kept their important things. Because of the stone outside, if people didn't know, they wouldn't know there was a cave here. In the memory of the original owner, she once had fun in the back of the mountain. She happened to see the Great Elder enter the cave. Later, she was found by the Great Elder. The Great Elder told her that she couldn't tell anyone about this. Although the original owner was spoiled and willful, she listened to the Great Elder. The Great Elder didn't let her say anything, so she kept this matter to herself. Looking at the current situation, she was afraid that someone had killed everyone in the Lu Guang sect for something inside. Shi Shang walked around the cave and went back with the lantern. When she passed by the graveyard, she saw the young man in white again. He stood on the tombstone like a ghost. When Shi Shang appeared, he tiptoed and left the graveyard, disappearing into the night. What a lunatic! Shi Shang went back to the square. The group of people had probably vented enough and were sleeping like pigs. She could kill them and run away without a problem. Shi Shang put down the lantern and sat on the side, holding his chin in a daze. Jiang Lin, who was lying down, quietly sat up and stared at Shi Shang's silhouette for a while. He carefully got up and walked to Shi Shang's side. "Little junior sister." "What? You? Where did you go?" Jiang Lin asked hesitantly. When Shi Shang left, Shi Shang woke up and saw Shi Shang leave. The back of the mountain. Shi Shang felt that there was nothing to hide, so she directly said it. The back of the mountain? Jiang Lin was puzzled. Why did little junior sister go to the back of the mountain? You want to know? Shi Shang put down her hand. Jiang Lin didn't know why, but he felt a little nervous. She had an aura that made people uncomfortable, but he still nodded. Go see for yourself. Jiang Lin. Chapter 1827. Jiang Lin went to take a look himself. When he came back, he was scared out of his wits. Junior sister, I think I saw a ghost. When he walked to the graveyard, he saw a white figure standing in the middle of the fog. His black hair was like a waterfall. Jiang Lin didn't dare to move forward in such a gloomy environment. Shi Shang rolled his eyes speechlessly. What the hell? That's a person. Shi Shang didn't want to go with Jiang Lin again. He could only find other disciples to go with him to the back of the mountain. However, he didn't see the ghost this time. The others all said that Jiang Lin was hallucinating. Jiang Lin wasn't sure if he was hallucinating. However, there was fog and the people buried here were his fellow disciples. He wasn't sure if it was a psychological effect. They looked around but didn't find anything. Later, they found the cave. Unfortunately, the things in the cave were useless. The next day, Shi Shang prepared to leave. The others were surprised. Where are we going? This was the Lu Guang sect. It was their home. Where were they going? If you want to wait for the murderer to find out that he missed you and come back to kill you, then you can stay here. I'm leaving anyway. Shi Shang walked down the mountain, stepping on the blood-stained ground. The others looked at each other. Perhaps it was because Shi Shang was too calm that they believed him. Seeing that Shi Shang was almost gone, the group gritted their teeth and followed. They looked back 3 times with each step. The buildings behind them gradually disappeared. Some people had lived here for more than 10 years. Now, they were leaving. In the 17th year of Yong-en, 2 major events happened. The first was that the entire Lu Guang sect was wiped out. No one in the Zhonghu was able to find any survivors. The second was that the genius of the Spirit Crane sect, Du Sui Han, died from the cold poison. The Zhonghu was very curious about the destruction of the Lu Guang sect. There were all kinds of rumors, but no one knew the truth. In the 21st year of Yong-en, the sword technique conference that was held once every 5 years was held at the 5 Peaks Mountain. All the sects gathered at the 5 Peaks Mountain to fight for the title of Sword Saint. 5 years ago, Du Sui Han was a young man. Now that 5 years had passed, Du Sui Han was dead. A new Sword Saint would be born at the 5 Peaks Mountain. 1,000 Mountains Sect. 9 Stars Sect. We've arrived at Clear Heart Pavilion. The 5 Peaks Mountain had always been a holy place for swordsmanship. There used to be a lake here. After the lake dried up, it was transformed into a swordsmanship field, similar to the Colosseum in Rome. The sects and clans followed the instructions and took their seats. Following the announcement, more and more people entered the venue. The first to arrive were usually the small sects and clans. Now that Du Sui Han was dead, if the Spirit Crane sect did not have a disciple comparable to Du Sui Han this year, they might lose this leader position. The big shots of the 4 sects entered the venue. After another official event where they exchanged greetings on the surface and insulted each other secretly, it was almost time for the official event. At this moment, there was another announcement from outside. Ziwei Gongzi has arrived. Wuying Gongzi has arrived. Dead. Dead Spirit City has arrived. The person who made the announcement stuttered. When the people in the sword discourse field heard the last name, their expressions changed. Everyone looked at the entrance simultaneously. Ziwei Gongzi, who was dressed in snow-white clothes, entered with a cold expression and a sword in his hand. After that, there was a purple shadow. Before the crowd could see it clearly, the spectator seats were already in a mess. A purple shadow occupied the best seats. The next to enter was the Dead Spirit City, which made the person who made the announcement stutter. A young and beautiful girl dragged an iron sword in from the entrance. Behind her were a few subordinates who were dressed very differently. This person was Shi Sheng. Beside him stood a very cute girl with a pair of big watery eyes. She had a strange appearance. The emerald green clothes on her did not look tacky at all. Instead, she looked fresh and cute, like a mountain elf. "City Master, we have to get to the nearest city before dark. We don't have time to watch the sword discourse field." The girl was talking to Shi Sheng. At this moment, the entire sword discourse field was so quiet that even a pin drop could be heard. Naturally, everyone heard what she said. What did she mean by "don't have time to watch the sword discourse field"? Was she looking down on them? Well, the people of the Dead Spirit City had always been arrogant. 4 years ago, a group of people robbed a city. That city was guarded by soldiers, but they could not defeat this group of people. After this group of people robbed the city, they even destroyed the name of the city. The imperial court sent soldiers to suppress them. Not only did they fail, but they were also beaten by this group of people. The imperial court was in a deadlock with them for 3 months. In the end, they had no choice but to retreat and let them take over the city. In the beginning, this city did not have a name because they destroyed the name of the city. Later, they started a business of assassins. As long as you wanted to kill someone, there was no one you could not kill. They came and went without a trace. No one could catch them. Hence, the name of the Dead Spirit City came about. They were like ghosts. Later, perhaps this group of people felt that the name of the Dead Spirit City was not bad, so they actually carved it on the city gate. The Dead Spirit City had a slogan: "There was no one that the Dead Spirit City could not kill." There were only people that the Dead Spirit City did not want to kill. Chapter 1828. The scariest person in the Dead Spirit City was the city master, Qing Yuan. Although only a few people had seen her, many of them had heard of her reputation. They heard that she would chop people up if they didn't agree with her. She was so hot-tempered that people would doubt the Jianghu even if they couldn't talk to her. She had never failed a job. She never hid her whereabouts and purpose. Everyone knew that she was the one who killed them. The most popular story was that someone wanted to assassinate the emperor of a certain country. She really did kill the emperor. They sent soldiers to chase her, but she defeated them all. That was not the climax. The climax was that the country paid for the head. After she killed the emperor, they didn't admit it. So she betrayed that country and helped them attack that country. The result was that the country that lost the emperor suddenly won the war that had been going on for more than 10 years. Normally, people in the Dead Spirit City would give out some extra information if they were in a good mood. Since then, people had to follow the rules when doing business with the Dead Spirit City. As long as you didn't break the rules, the Dead Spirit City wouldn't break the rules. Break the rules. She could break the rules and destroy the country. In short, although the Dead Spirit City was a new power, the Jianghu was afraid of it. It was said that even the 4 major sword sects had been attacked by it. People who didn't want to die wouldn't provoke the Dead Spirit City. Shi Sheng had always wanted to start an assassin organization. Now, he finally realized it. Play games. He wanted to try out all the awesome jobs. Shi Sheng stood at the entrance. His gaze swept from the white-clothed gentleman who was sitting down to the purple-clothed gentleman who was crossing his legs. Shi Sheng's eyes curved. His clear voice resounded through the whole sword discussion field. "Then we won't do this business. Let's stay and watch the show. City Master, we have to pay for it." The little girl felt the pain. "We don't lack money." Shi Sheng walked toward the purple-clothed gentleman. The people in the seats were like birds startled by the twang of a bow. They all stood up and scurried back. "City Master, what's there to watch?" The little girl followed behind her and said, "It's just a group of people fighting. It's not interesting at all." "It's not them. It's him. Him." The little girl followed the Shi Sheng's gaze and saw that it was the purple-clothed young man who didn't care about his image. "Castellan, do you like him? Snatch her back and make her your mistress." Shi Sheng's eyes lit up. Good idea. Everyone was stunned. Do you know who that was? There were the 4 great sword sects and the 3 young masters in the Zhonghu. The first young master was the dead Du Sui Han, who was the dream lover of countless girls. The most mysterious Ziwei master was the current villa lord of Ziwei Villa. The most annoying shadowless mister was the purple-clothed mister in front of him. Even if you're the city master of the dead spirit city, you're still doing something for the people by robbing shadowless mister. Everyone was waiting to watch a good show. Shi Shang sat behind shadowless mister. Shadowless mister glanced at her with a playful smile. You want to snatch me away to be your wife? She emphasized the word, madam. The little girl's voice just now wasn't soft, so he heard it clearly. He had been in Zhonghu for so many years, and no one had ever dared to say that they wanted to snatch him to be the mistress of the fort. What do you think? Shi Shang imitated his smile. Shadowless mister whistled at the crowd. Kill 1/3 of the people here, and I'll consider it. Everyone. What did it have to do with them? Now they knew why he was so annoying. If it weren't for his strength, he would have been chopped into pieces and thrown into the river to feed the fish. The one in the dead spirit city was a person who would insult others without a word, but this one would harm the innocent. 1/3? Shi Shang frowned. Shadowless mister smiled frivolously. You can't do it? Everyone turned to look at Shi Shang. She's someone who can hold off an entire army. If she really wants to kill 1/3 of them, she might actually be able to do it. Everyone felt a chill down their spines. They were here to participate in the sword technique conference that was held once every 5 years, not to be chopped up like cabbages. Shi Shang shook his head. Just as everyone heaved a sigh of relief, he said something shocking. Why don't we kill them all? You don't have to think about it. Just come back with me. Shadowless mister. Everyone. Men, drag this boastful person out and give him a good beating. Beat him to death. Did he really think that they grew up without doing anything? Shadowless mister didn't reply immediately. The people around him held their swords tightly, ready to attack at any time. They thought they could watch a good show, but they didn't expect that not only would the show fail, but they would also be implicated. Shadowless mister opened his mouth slightly, and it looked like he was going to agree. Everyone had already unsheathed their swords. I'm so charming that the city lord of the dead spirit city would kill so many people for me. Today is the sword technique conference. City lord, you're stealing the limelight. Shadowless mister still had a playful smile on his face. Everyone heaved a sigh of relief. He knew that this was the sword technique conference, and he knew that he was stealing the limelight. However, before they could let out a sigh of relief, they heard him say, Then I wish you good luck. Then I wish you good luck. I wish you good luck. Good luck. Good luck. Did he agree to her request? Shadowless mister, can you be more reserved? How can you let her kill them and then take you back? Ah. Where's your backbone? Where's your integrity? Ah, after we kill them, we might be able to get that deal. The little girl shouted excitedly and pulled out her sword. Brothers, let's get to work. The people who were close to the entrance started running. They were just insignificant people from small sects, but they had defeated the people from the Dead Spirit City, and there were still people from the 4 major sword sects behind them. They had better run first. Host, you're killing innocent people again. The system screamed. Be reasonable. Did I do it? Did anyone die now? The scene was chaotic, but no one died. No one was even injured. Although you didn't do it yet, you have the intention. As long as Shadowless really wanted to do it, she would definitely do it. Shi Shang didn't want to admit it, so I didn't do it either. She was speechless. City Lord. Shadowless mister moved closer to Shi Shang, and his eyes seemed to be smiling. One escaped. It doesn't count. Shi Shang smiled back at him. Don't worry. If we don't succeed this time, there will be a next time. Ha ha ha. Shadowless mister clapped his hands and laughed. After a while, he stopped. I don't want you to kill these people. See that person over there? Go and kill him. From now on, I'll be the city lord's man. The shadowless Mister was none other than the cold-faced Ziwei Mister. In the chaotic sword competition field, even the 4 major sword sects were a bit restless. Only the people from the Ziwei villa were as calm as a mountain, as if they weren't affected at all. As soon as Shadowless Mister finished speaking, Ziwei Mister looked over. They were separated by the entire sword competition field. How could he hear that? Shadowless Mister waved at him, and Ziwei Mister's face turned even colder. Just as Shishang was about to agree, a shout came from the sky, and the pressure swept across the entire sword competition field. Nonsense. Chapter 1829. Shishang did not expect to see this pretentious old man again in such a situation. Everyone in the sword discourse arena seemed to have been shocked by the voice. The noise disappeared as Miracle Dr. Huayang walked over with his qing gong. Not only was Miracle Dr. Huayang skilled in medical skills, but he was also a senior who excelled in swordsmanship. However, he had not come out of seclusion for many years. Everyone was puzzled. What was going on this year? Why were all these weird people gathered together? The shadowless Gongzi was leaning against the back of a stone chair. Shishang was sprawled out beside him. A strand of his hair fell between her fingers. She pinched it lightly. The shadowless Gongzi glanced at her but didn't pull it back. Miracle Dr. Huayang, why are you here? The Spirit Crane Sect's Lord and the other 3 sects leaders stood up one after another. Miracle Dr. Huayang snorted. What do you think the Sword Technique Conference is if I'm not here? Is this a joke? Miracle Dr. Huayang. Everyone was speechless. It was Shadowless Mister who started this. Someone had to be the scapegoat, right? Senior, I don't think you know Shadowless Mister. He's Balabala. Someone explained to Miracle Dr. Huayang so that he had a rough idea of who Shadowless Mister was. It was already an honor for a senior like Huayang to know the current sect leader. Therefore, it was normal for him not to know a junior like Shadowless Mister. Huayang looked towards Shadowless Mister. Seeing Shishang and Shadowless Mister so close together, he was unhappy. Although they were from the Jianghu, women should keep a distance from men. Shishang and Shadowless Mister were very close together. She was even grabbing onto a strand of his hair. Huayang looked at Shadowless Mister for a while before looking at Shishang. After looking at Shishang carefully, he said, "It's you." Everyone had a weird expression. Miracle Dr. Huayang knew the Castellan of the Dead Spirit City. This Castellan had only been famous for 4 years. With Miracle Dr. Huayang's status, he should not know her. However, she was so famous that it was not strange for him to know her. Shishang let go of Shadowless hair, stood up and stepped on the stone bench behind her. When she reached the same height as Huayang, she asked, "What's wrong?" Miracle Dr. Huayang snorted coldly. Truly, the generations are getting worse and worse. Back then, the sect leader of Lu Guang's sect was also quite a figure. How could he teach such a disciple? Glazed Light Sect. Senior is talking about the Glazed Light Sect? Back then, when Lu Guang's sect was exterminated, the originally somewhat famous sect became a hot topic. Everyone in the Jianghu knew about Lu Guang's sect. But now, Miracle Dr. Huayang was saying, she was from the Glazed Light Sect? In the end, Lu Guang's sect was not a big sect. It was already good enough that the people in the sect and in Jianghu could recognize the elders and the sect master. Who would remember these small fries? Therefore, when Shishang walked around Jianghu, no one recognized him. What's wrong? Miracle Dr. Huayang was curious about their reactions. Was there something wrong with the Glazed Light Sect? Senior, the Glazed Light Sect was annihilated 4 years ago. Not a single person was left alive, someone said carefully. Huayang frowned. He had just left the mountain and did not have the time to fully understand what happened in Jianghu. He looked at Shishang, who was standing straight and arrogantly, and said in a deep voice, "Isn't she from the Glazed Light Sect?" Back then, his mountain had collapsed just like that. He would not be mistaken. Everyone was in an uproar. The Dead Spirit City's city lord was actually from the Glazed Light sect? If that was really the case, then it was too terrifying. She used only 4 years to regain a foothold in the Jianghu and gained a place for herself. Speaking of the Glazed Light sect, the Spirit Crane sect's sect master's face turned ugly. None of the disciples he sent to invite miracle Dr. Hua Yang for Du Suihan had returned. Later on, when he sent people to look for him, they only found rotting bones wearing his sect's clothes. And Du Suihan. This was the Spirit Crane sect's sect master's pain. Qing Yuan City Lord, are you really from the Glazed Light sect? So what if I am? Shi Sheng chuckled. Does the Glazed Light sect owe you money? The person who asked the question choked. May I ask Qing Yuan City Lord, since you are an old member of the Glazed Light sect, why didn't you stand up and ask for help from other sects after the sect was destroyed? Why did you change your name? Change my name? Shi Sheng sneered. I don't remember when I changed my name. Qing Yuan is my name. Who knew what she was called before? The person who asked the question was just guessing. According to convention, people would usually change their name. Shi Sheng paused. As for why I didn't ask for your help. What can you help with? Watching a joke. Someone immediately retorted, how could we watch a massacre? If you stood up at that time, we would definitely give justice to the Glazed Light sect. Come on, if you really want to give justice to the Glazed Light sect, you should do it regardless of whether there are survivors. Instead of waiting for the victims to stand up, you have no choice but to do so to show your benevolence in Jianghu. Qing Yuan City Lord, pay attention to what you say. When the Glazed Light sect was destroyed, we sent people to investigate. We searched the entire Glazed Light sect for several days and didn't find any survivors or clues before leaving. We've done everything we can. Shi Sheng raised his eyebrows. Then did you catch the culprit? Everyone fell silent. Shi Sheng blinked. Don't make it sound so nice. Everyone, be honest. It's easier to talk. Everyone. Flipping table, how could this kind of thing be honest? Ha ha ha. Shadowless seemed to be amused and laughed happily. If you ask me, the Spirit Crane sect is the most likely to do this. Shadowless, don't slander us. The people of the Spirit Crane sect were furious. Glazed Light sect has no enmity with us. Why would we destroy the Glazed Light sect? Shadowless crossed his legs on the stone chair in front of him and swayed gently. He crossed his arms and smiled. I'm just saying my guess. I didn't say it was you. Shadowless, you. Seeing that they were about to quarrel, Hua Yang waved his hand. Everyone gave him face and stopped. Hua Yang said in a deep voice, we'll talk about the destruction of the Glazed Light sect later. Today is the Sword Technique Conference. Don't forget the important thing. This old man hasn't left the mountain for many years. I didn't expect the Sword Technique Conference to be like this. Hua Yang's face was full of disappointment. He was passing by today and remembered that it was the Sword Technique Conference. As a result, he saw the chaotic scene from before. It was nothing like when he attended the Sword Technique Conference. Everyone's face was ugly. It wasn't them who caused trouble, it was these troublemakers. They wouldn't take the blame. City Lord, what I said just now still counts. Shadowless shouted at Shi Sheng. Shi Sheng raised his eyebrows and chuckled. Then don't go back on your words. She flew down and went straight to Ziwei Gongzi. Ziwei Gongzi also flew up and the two figures collided in the air. Their weapons collided and sparks flew. Before anyone could see what happened, the sword in Ziwei Gongzi's hand broke and fell to the ground with a crisp sound. It only took a few seconds. Everyone, F***K. He broke the other party's sword in one move. Chapter 1830. Ziwei Villa's people were good at using poison. The sword in Ziwei Gongzi's hand was just an ordinary sword, so it wasn't strange for it to be broken. Ziwei Gongzi sprinkled a handful of powder at Shi Sheng. While Shi Sheng was dodging, he took a strange step in the air and circled behind him. He pulled out a soft sword from his waist and pressed it against Sher Shang's back. City Lord, I have no enmity with you. You'd better not believe his words. Sher Shang slapped the soft sword away and suddenly drew closer. The iron sword was pressed against Ziwei Gongzi's neck. Ziwei Gongzi, can you explain to me why you appeared in the back mountain of Lu Guang sect 4 years ago? I was just passing by. Ziwei Gongzi didn't pause at all. Then it's good that you passed by. Of all places to pass by, he just had to pass by Lu Guang sect. Actually, it doesn't matter to me whether you passed by or not. I'm not interested in who destroyed Lu Guang sect. Now that I've killed you, he can leave with me. It's a very good deal. Ziwei Gongzi, he left. Sher Shang looked in shadowless direction. The person who was sitting there with his legs crossed had disappeared into the entrance. The entrance was in chaos and a fight broke out in the blink of an eye. It was useless to call out to him. No one knew what he was doing. He's just tricking you to delay me. Ziwei Gongzi continued. Sher Shang gritted his teeth. Very good, idiot. I can help you catch him, but you have to do me a favor. Sher Shang looked at Ziwei Gongzi and rejected him mercilessly. No need. If you dare touch a single strand of his hair, I'll make your entire Ziwei villa apologize to him. Ziwei Gongzi. Sher Shang returned to the audience and shouted at the people who were fishing in troubled waters, let's go. City Lord, aren't you going to watch the show? The little girl jumped and shouted. I haven't played enough yet. Then play by yourself. Sher Shang rushed towards the exit. The little girl saw that Sher Shang was really leaving and hurriedly followed him with her people. The sword symposium was in a complete mess. By the time the people of the 4 major sword sects calmed them down, Sher Shang and the people of Ziwei Villa had already left. Sher Shang went down the mountain and did not find Shadowless. She was a little depressed. It wasn't easy for her to see her daughter-in-law, but she was gone. The sword technique conference was disrupted, and the conference was postponed for 2 days. Sher Shang finished his business and returned to the Dead Spirit City in a bad mood. City Lord, isn't it just a man? Do you have to be like this? What do you want? I'll go back and find it for you. I'll find a room full of them for you to choose from. Shaoli moved closer to Sher Shang. What do I look like? Sher Shang propped up his chin and asked. From the inside out, it exudes unhappiness. Shaoli gestured. Then let's go kill some people for fun. Okay. Shaoli nodded excitedly. Sher Shang. She was just saying it casually, okay? Shaoli was picked up by Zhong Lin. This little girl was fierce and crazy. She had the temperament of a villain, so Sher Shang kept her by his side. After a few years, she really did look more and more like a villain. So host, are you cultivating a villain? Sher Shang touched his chin and answered in his heart, this is a good suggestion. I can consider mass-producing them. Pfft, this system was just saying it casually. Host, don't mess around. The system was about to cry. Why did it have to suffer such a fright just because it said something casually? So it was the truth that it didn't say anything? Who asked you to be so cheap? Let's see if you still dare to talk nonsense next time. Sher Shang. Am I not cultivating an opponent for the protagonist? How is this messing around? Without an opponent, how lonely would the protagonist be? The protagonist is already very unlucky for you to fight against him alone. If you want to cultivate another group, the protagonist will commit suicide in front of you. Sher Shang continued to touch his chin. Speaking of the protagonist, how did Du Suihan die? Isn't he the male protagonist? Yes. The system answered helplessly. Yes. Then how did he die? This death was too casual. That was the male protagonist. According to the plot, he would fake his death and then wander the martial world with the female protagonist. In the end, it was revealed that he didn't die and revealed a dark past, shocking the martial world. Yes, it was all a plot. You still have the nerve to ask? Isn't it all because of you? The normal plot was that the Spirit Crane sect would receive the help of Miracle Dr. Huayang, so Du Suihan wouldn't have died so casually. Yu, on the other hand, went and split his mountain. Miracle Dr. Huayang didn't do anything, so wasn't it normal for Du Suihan to die? How would I know that his mountain was so weak? I didn't even use my strength and the mountain collapsed. I wasn't going to take the blame. City Lord, I'm talking to you. Why are you ignoring me? Xiao Li's noisy voice sounded beside Shi Sheng. Ah, what? Shi Sheng stopped talking to the system and looked at Xiao Li in confusion. Look. Xiao Li pointed to the front. Shi Sheng looked in the direction Xiao Li was pointing at. Two people were riding their horses towards them. One of them looked very familiar. Shi Sheng stared for a while. It was the female protagonist that he hadn't seen for many years. The birthmark on her face was gone. There was a man beside her. He was wearing a mask that covered his face. Looking at his attire and temperament, he was completely different from a passerby. He was definitely not a passerby. Many male protagonists like to wear masks. She was so beautiful that she could participate in the international beauty contest, but there were rumors that she was too ugly to be seen. Plot. Ruan GMO also saw Shi Shang's carriage. The flag of the Dead Spirit City was hanging outside, waving in the wind. Ruan GMO suddenly pulled on the reins. The horse neighed and stopped in front of her. The man beside her also stopped. He turned around and asked her, "What's wrong?" 4 years ago, after Ruan GMO left the team, she went back to Miracle Dr. Huayang's territory. There, she not only cured the birthmark on her face, but also worshipped Miracle Dr. Huayang as her master. A few days ago, she left the mountain with Miracle Dr. Huayang, who knew that after asking around, she would find out that Lu Guang's sect had been destroyed. She thought that the people of Lu Guang's sect were all dead. She didn't expect that she was still alive and living so freely. I met an old friend. Ruan GMO restrained her expression. You go find master first. I'll come later. The man called Yu looked at Ruan GMO, then looked at the group of people who were still slowly approaching. Okay. Ruan GMO watched the man leave on his horse, her expression changing. Asterisk, this is a fake group. Shi Shang. Little Sunflower Villain class is starting. Don't miss 998. Don't miss 98. Don't miss 9. 8. Just 99.98. Police. So expensive? Is this a robbery? Student Union. Even if you kill me, it won't be that much. Shi Shang. You boorish people don't understand. 9. 8 to become a qualified boorish person? Are you kidding? Cherub. Fangirl eyes. That's very reasonable. Little Fairy. I can open a back door for you. You just need to vote. System. Why are you sticking in everywhere? Little Fairy. I'm also looking for a place to stick in. I'm not a diamond that can stick in everywhere. Cherub. My eyes hurt. Chapter 1831. After the man left, Ruan Jima waited for Shi Shang's carriage to approach. As the female lead, Ruan Jima had to be reserved and couldn't speak first. Shi Shang sat on the edge of the carriage with one leg bent and the other dangling in the air. He looked like a complete hooligan. She just stared at Ruan Jima and didn't say anything. Seeing that the two sides were about to meet, Shi Shang didn't say anything. Ruan Jima stood in the middle of the road with a strange look on her face. Mayor, what should we do? Shaoli whispered in Shi Shang's ear. Kill her or what? This person was blocking the road, so it was a bit difficult for their carriage to pass. Hit her, Shi Shang said without changing his expression. Okay. Shaoli responded with a crisp sound. She raised her whip and hit the horses but in front of her. The horse felt pain and immediately whinnied and rushed towards Ruan GMO. Ruan Jima didn't expect Shi Shang to let people do this. She watched the carriage hit her. The horse was frightened and didn't listen to her command. It led her to the side and she was almost thrown off. When she finally steadied the horse, The carriage had already passed her and left. Ruan Jimo grabbed the reins and her eyes were filled with anger. When a person ignored others, it might anger them more than if they provoked them. Hey, have you heard? At the sword technique conference, a girl was in the limelight. A girl? Yes, I heard that she is the last disciple of Miracle Dr. Huayang. There are countless people who want to be apprenticed to Miracle Dr. Huayang, but Miracle Dr. Huayang didn't accept them. I don't know how this girl did it. No wonder Miracle Dr. Huayang came out this year. It's for his disciple. Then isn't her medical skills very good? Some people were curious. Miracle Dr. Huayang was called Miracle Doctor, so his medical skills must be good. His disciple should be very good, right? I don't know about this, but her swordsmanship is very good. I heard that people from Ziwei Villa and the Dead Spirit City went to Wufing Mountain and then left. Is it true? It's true. The scene that day was so chaotic. Miracle Dr. Huayang was there and no one listened. Otherwise, the Sword Technique Conference wouldn't have been postponed for 2 days. People from the Dead Spirit City are going to die the moment they appear. What are they going to do at the Sword Technique Conference? Who died? I didn't do anything. All he did was cause the Sword Technique Conference to be delayed by 2 days. Although the Sword Technique Conference was held in the Five Peaks Mountain, the news would still spread to the nearby cities and towns. At this time, the Shishang was in a small town near the Five Peaks Mountain. The girl they were talking about was most likely Ruan Gmo. Only the female lead Darren had such a configuration. City Lord, you can actually participate in the Sword Technique Conference. Shaoli instigated Shishang. I heard that the winner will not only get the title of Sword Saint, but will also get good things. Shishang said with a faint smile, You want me to go and slaughter the Wufing Mountain? PFFF. Shaoli spat out a mouthful of water and choked several times. City Lord, it's not difficult to have a good fight. Her City Lord could bring out a very powerful sword technique, but she never used it. She just wanted to kill her opponent. She didn't care about any sword technique or moves. She only chose the most effective way to fight. Have you found anything? Oh, I found it. Shaoli quickly put down the teacup, took out a piece of paper from her waist, and handed it to Shishang. Shishang unfolded the paper. There were only a few words on it. Shadowless, 24 years old. Because of the Shadowless sword technique and the Shadowless steps, he became known as the Shadowless Prince. His master is unknown, and his real name is unknown. There was a series of unknowns. Shishang shook the paper. Shaoli's face immediately fell. City Lord, we can only find out so much. This person seems to have appeared out of thin air. He killed a very famous swordsman at that time and became famous in one battle. No one knows where he came from. The Dead Spirit City's intelligence system was very good, but this was all they could find. Shishang put away the paper. Zhonglin is back? Shaoli let out a sigh of relief. He should be back soon. What is brother Zhonglin looking for? Ever since she followed the City Lord, Zhonglin didn't care much about the Dead Spirit City. He brought people everywhere and only came back a few times. Shishang smiled and didn't answer. Other than the year the Dead Spirit City was first established, Zhonglin brought people to investigate for 3 years, but they didn't find any clues. The Sword Technique Conference was in full swing. Shishang heard that Ruan Gmo had won several rounds in a row and was the most likely person to take first place this year. At the most critical moment of the Sword Technique Conference, the news from the Five Peaks Mountain suddenly stopped. There was no more news. Some people thought it was strange and went to the Five Peaks Mountain to take a look. However, the Five Peaks Mountain was empty. There was no one there. When the news came out, the Zhonghu was shocked. People from various sects quickly rushed to the Five Peaks Mountain. They almost turned the Five Peaks Mountain upside down, but they didn't even see a ghost. Later, this matter was somehow related to Shishang. So, Shishang was besieged. Shishang. What did I do? Don't be unreasonable. Shishang sat on the wall of the courtyard and ate melon seeds. Outside, people from various sects were furious. Qing Yuan, Hand over our sect leader. Hand over our sect leader. Hand him over. Hand him over. Shi Shang ate melon seeds and said disdainfully, "Why would I capture your sect leader for no reason? To fry him for food? Do you think your sect leader are delicious cakes? I was so busy, how could I have the time to capture those idiots?" A man with slanted eyebrows at the front pointed his sword at Shi Shang and shouted in a rough voice, "We found the mark of your dead spirit city on the Five Peaks Mountain. Also, you threatened to kill everyone on the Five Peaks Mountain. If it wasn't you who did it, who did it?" Shi Shang looked down at Xiao Li and scolded, "I told you not to draw any lousy marks when you kill people. You didn't listen. Now, you've been framed." Xiao Li said innocently, "City Lord, didn't you teach us that when we go out, we have to be recognizable?" "Did I say that?" Shi Shang was puzzled. When did she teach him this kind of chicken soup? Everyone from the Dead Spirit City nodded. Yes. Everyone. Be recognizable? Did they hear it wrong? You bunch of assassins actually want to be recognizable? Do you have any respect for the upright martial arts sects? Qing Yuan, quickly hand them over. Otherwise, the major sects won't let your Dead Spirit City go. The man with slanted eyebrows continued to shout. Shi Shang rolled his eyes. I didn't catch them. How can I hand them over? Make one out of mud for you? If you really want, I can make one for you. I don't want too much. 1,000 taels for one. I'll make as many as you want. I'll give you a wholesale price if I make more. You. Everyone was fuming. Shi Shang was leisurely munching on sunflower seeds. If you guys are wasting time here, the culprit might have already chopped your sect master and sect master into pieces. You guys should prepare the tools to collect the corpses first. The air became strangely quiet. Other than the mark they found on the Five Peaks Mountain, they really didn't have any evidence to prove that the disappearance of so many people was related to the Dead Spirit City. So many people suddenly disappeared without a trace. No matter how you looked at it, it felt strange. #hashtag today's Yinhuan flavored ticket hashtag from today until the 27th, I have something to do. I won't update 10,000 times. I guarantee that I'll maintain at least 2 times. As for how many times I'll update, see how much I can write tonight. I'm so sorry, but I hope everyone can understand. Chapter 1832. Your Dead Spirit City is the most suspicious. Who else could it be? You said you wanted to kill everyone on the Five Peaks Mountain. Those who had gone missing were all the mainstays of the sect, including the sect masters and sect masters of the various sections. I said I did it, didn't I? Then I said I was your ancestor. Do you want to call me ancestor? Shi Shang sneered. Everyone choked again. The scene became strangely quiet. Everyone had their own calculations. The Dead Spirit City's city master had done it. Although she was in a shady business, her style of doing things was very open and upright. She would never deny what she had done. Because of this city master, the people of the Dead Spirit City were also so intrepid. They were high-profile and arrogant. Sometimes, they would even post a notice in advance to inform others that they were coming to kill you and to quickly prepare a coffin. Had they ever seen such an arrogant organization? They had never seen it before. They had never seen it before. Now that this arrogant city master had clearly denied that she had done it, there was an 80% chance that it really wasn't her. Isn't the Dead Spirit City buying and selling information? I'll pay. A person suddenly stood out from the crowd. The Dead Spirit City was in the assassin business and also in the information business. Shi Shang tilted his head and smiled. Whose whereabouts do you want to buy? That person said, the pavilion master of Clear Heart Pavilion. Xiao Li, quote. Xiao Li jumped from the courtyard to the top of the wall. She opened a booklet full of words. After flipping a few times, she stopped and read, Pavilion Master of Clear Heart Pavilion, 10,000 gold. Puff, 10,000 gold. Do you think gold falls from the sky? Why don't you go rob someone? Sect Master of Tian Luo Sect. 100,000 gold. Xiao Li immediately quoted. You really know? Tian Luo Sect didn't lack money. They were more worried that the people of the Dead Spirit City were cheating them. Xiao Li closed the booklet. Although her face was still young, she looked mature. The Dead Spirit City's integrity is a guarantee. The Dead Spirit City's integrity was very good. As long as you didn't break the contract, the Dead Spirit City wouldn't break the contract. If it weren't for its integrity, there wouldn't be so many people who wanted to do business with the Dead Spirit City even though they knew it wasn't easy to mess with them. The Tian Luo Sect Master discussed with the people around him in a low voice. After a while, he said, 100,000 is a little too much. We don't have that much at the moment. We will gather it within 1 day. I hope the City Master doesn't deceive us. Otherwise, the Tian Luo Sect will flatten the Dead Spirit City. What do you think the Dead Spirit City is? Even if all of you work together, it won't be enough. Shi Shang sneered arrogantly. Tian Luo Sect. That was blatant disdain. Don't be too arrogant. So infuriating. How could there be such an arrogant person living well in the martial arts world? The rest of the people wanted to wait for the Tian Luo Sect to receive the news. After all, they had gone missing together, so they must have been together. However, after the Tian Luo Sect paid the money, the Dead Spirit City only sent one person to lead the way. They did not intend to inform them. The most infuriating thing was that they didn't allow others to follow them. Once they discovered them, they wouldn't lead the way anymore. For the sake of their sect leader, these sects could only warn those who wanted to follow. What could they do? In this situation, they could only pay for it. After the group paid the money, the Shi Shang sent someone to lead the way. Since they had already paid, there was no need for him to lead them one by one. The group of people headed towards the 5 Peaks Mountain in a grandiose manner. They were brought to the sword discourse field of the 5 Peaks Mountain. There were a few corpses in black clothes lying on the field. They were not people from the major sections. Everyone immediately became nervous. There was a dark passage in the middle of the sword discourse field. The person who led the way had only sent them here. The person they were looking for was just below. They had searched the entire 5 Peaks Mountain, but they did not expect that there was a mechanism in the sword discourse field that led to the mountain. Could it be that no one saw so many people go missing? They had never left the sword discourse field. How could they be seen? City Master, are you not going down with us? Shi Shang sat on a stone chair and cracked melon seeds. I'm not saving people. Why should I go down? Who wants to hire a hitman? I'll give you a discount. Everyone. They wanted to strangle him. How much does the City Master want? A frivolous voice came from behind Shi Shang. A purple figure stepped on the stone chair and landed lightly in front of Shi Shang. His black hair flew in the wind. The man's face was as handsome as a painting. Shi Shang's lips curled up. You're free. Shadowless raised his eyebrows. Could it be that the City Master has taken a fancy to my beauty? I thought I expressed myself clearly before. Are you sure the City Master can afford my price? Shadowless's eyes flashed with a strange light. I can afford whatever you want. Shi Shang's tone was full of confidence. The smile on Shadowless's face widened. Ha ha ha, the City Master must remember what you said. Of course I will remember, but... Shi Shang suddenly flew forward and grabbed Shadowless's collar. He threw him onto the stone chair next to him and pressed down on Shadowless's hands and feet that were about to fight back. You lied to me last time. I need to settle this with you. City Master, let's not be so calculative over such a small matter. Shadowless didn't struggle too hard. He looked at Shi Shang with interest. Don't you like me? Are you willing to settle this with me? Won't you feel bad for me? That's a separate matter. Shi Shang smiled. It's not like I haven't beaten you before. If I don't beat you up for 3 days, you'll go crazy. Shadowless was stunned. When had he ever been beaten by her? Everyone looked at the two people who were causing a ruckus. What the hell were they doing here? Couldn't they be more serious? After Shi Shang finished beating Shadowless, Shadowless realized that the city master was quite strong. Although he didn't use his full strength, she didn't use her full strength either. Shadowless touched his chest and got up. There was a strange feeling here. When she was so close to him just now, he felt a throbbing and familiarity, as if he wanted to be closer to her. Shadowless patted the dust off his body. I was wrong about what happened last time. I shouldn't have lied to the city master. Is the city master appeased now? Shi Shang looked at him and said calmly, "What do you want?" Shadowless looked towards the center of the arena and raised his eyebrows at Shi Shang. It was obvious that he wanted to go down. "It's expensive to hire me. Can you afford it?" Shi Shang crossed his arms. Shadowless narrowed his eyes. "The city master just said that it's free. Are you going back on your words now?" Shi Shang chuckled. "I said that it's free of charge, but I didn't say that I don't want anything else. Don't misunderstand, Shadowless. I was afraid of myself when I was being shameless, so why would I not be afraid of you?" Shadowless was speechless. He was being tricked. "What do you want?" Shadowless quickly added, "It's impossible for me to kidnap your wife. That would make me look too cheap. I want—" Shi Shang looked at Shadowless. "You to stay by my side for a month." Shadowless thought for a moment. "Okay." Shi Shang jumped down from the stone chair and walked towards the center of the arena. The people who hadn't gone down yet all made way for him. The passageway was quite wide. It could fit 4 or 5 people side by side. It was pitch black below. There were many messy footprints on the stairs. Some of them were fresh. They were probably from the Tian Luo sect. Shi Shang walked down the stairs and disappeared into the darkness. Shadowless followed behind him. "There are many traps below. You have to be careful." His voice echoed in the passageway. His voice traveled far and wide before slowly returning. It was especially eerie in the darkness. Chapter 1833. Shi Shang took out his iron sword and walked down like a bolt of lightning, leaving a trail of sparks behind him. The people behind him were dumbfounded. Was he here to split the mountain? The mechanism was powerful, but it couldn't withstand the destruction of the foundation. So violent. The person who set up the mechanism would cry himself to death. Shadowless put his hands behind his head and looked at the girl in front of him from time to time. It was hard to forget a person. But it was easy to remember a person. She barged in without any warning, like a tired bird that hadn't returned for many years. That spot belonged to her. Shadowless shook his head and laughed silently. What was he thinking? The mechanism was set up from the top of the mountain to the bottom. Such a huge project couldn't be completed in a day or two. The people who captured the people from the big sects were already prepared. These mechanisms are so intricate. Someone whispered. In the martial arts world, everyone used swords to communicate. Other skills were seen as unorthodox, and mechanisms were no exception. Other than the people from the colored glass sect, no one else in the martial arts world knows such intricate mechanisms, someone said in the dark. But once this was said, everyone couldn't help but look at the front. They had all received news that the mayor of the Dead Spirit City, Qing Yuan, was a disciple of the colored glass sect. Coincidentally, they had encountered such an intricate mechanism. But the mayor, who was violently destroying the mechanism, didn't seem to have much to do with this. Shi Shang didn't care about what the people behind him were thinking. He rushed to the bottom of the mountain. A few men in black heard the commotion and walked out from the dark, blocking in front of Shi Shang. They stood there for a few seconds, then suddenly attacked. "Mayor, let me do it." Shadowless smiled and stood in front of Shi Shang. "How can you let a girl do such a crude thing?" Shi Shang was speechless. "My wife is amazing." Shadowless Steps was indeed awesome. At least the men in black were beaten up by Shadowless. They couldn't even touch the corner of his clothes. This was only Shadowless Steps. If it was combined with Shadowless sword technique, it would be even more awesome. Several men in black fell to the ground. Shadowless walked back to Shishang with strange steps. In the dim passage, Shishang's half-smiling face was eerie. Is Mr. Shadowless always so gentle to girls? The group of people behind him seemed to be frightened by this sentence. They all gasped. Shadowless was gentle to a girl? Don't joke around. He's a master who even dares to harm children. I've never seen him being gentle to any living creature. Is the city lord jealous? Shadowless didn't seem to feel the eerie aura coming from Shishang. Instead, he smiled even more happily. I haven't done anything with you yet. Aren't you being too nosy? I'm just asking, Shishang said with a smile. The temperature in the tunnel seemed to have dropped a few degrees. Shadowless stroked his hair. Those who can make me gentle are all dead. The people behind him stepped back in unison. This was King Pervert. City Lord, you have to be careful. Shadowless smiled and walked towards the corner where the men in black came from. Shishang reached out and grabbed his collar. Under Shadowless's confused gaze, he pulled him behind him. Walk behind me. Shadowless was stunned. He wanted to refute, but Shishang had already walked past him and turned the corner. His clothes disappeared from his sight. After a while, Shadowless grinned silently and chased after Shishang. The group of people behind him heaved a sigh of relief. One pervert was already difficult enough. Now that two perverts were together, they couldn't live anymore. More and more men in black appeared in front of them. Shishang easily took care of them all by himself and reached the place where they were gathered. Sect Master! Sect Master! The people behind him saw their own people locked in the dungeon and rushed over excitedly. The men in black who were in charge of guarding the dungeon saw so many people rushing in. They picked up their weapons and rushed over. As the saying goes, 2 fists are no match for 4 hands. Shishang had a large group of people behind him. The men in black didn't have the advantage in numbers. They fought a few times and escaped through a passage. Everyone was busy saving their own people and didn't have time to chase after them. Sect Master, are you okay? I'm fine. How did you find this place? It's a long story. I'll let you out first. Sect Master, I'll let you out now. Hurry and open the dungeon. The sects were all looking for the people they were looking for. They hurriedly opened the dungeon. Shadowless walked through these people. He seemed to be looking for someone. However, these people were participating in the sword technique conference. Obviously, they weren't the people he was looking for. He looked at the passage that the men in black escaped through and walked towards it. Who are you looking for? Shishang followed beside Shadowless. Looking for someone. Nonsense. I know you're looking for someone. I'm asking you who you're looking for. Anyone who wasn't blind would know that he was looking for someone. Shadowless pushed open the stone door in the passage. The sound of the stone door moving was mixed with his laughter. Castellan, you're asking so many questions. Are you trying to stand on my side? I've always been on your side. Even if it's a cliff, I'll stand on it without hesitation. Are you satisfied with this answer? The stone door stopped moving just as Shishang finished speaking. Shadowless turned his head and looked straight into Shishang's eyes. It was as if he wanted to look into her heart. Castellan, did you know me before? Yes. Shadowless smiled playfully and entered the dark passage. That's interesting. How come I don't remember knowing you? Castellan, you must have a crush on me. Shadowless didn't wait for Shishang to answer. He gave himself an answer. There are too many people like me who have a crush on me. But you're different. Since you want to stand on my side, I'll give you the chance. But... He suddenly turned around, his pitch-black pupils instantly lit up with specks of fire, like the rising lights of 10,000 homes. City Lord, you must be prepared to be hunted down. I should be the one saying that to you. I've offended as many people as you have. Compared to offending people, she was a true master. No, This time her character was narcissistic. Asterisk flips table asterisk damn it. Asterisk Shadowless reached out his hand and placed it on Shi Shang's head. But he quickly took it back and walked into the darkness. Shi Shang caught up with him in a few steps. We're allies now, right? You haven't told me who you're looking for. Shadowless stuffed something into her hand. But she didn't know what it was in the dark passage. Fortunately, the passage ended quickly. When she walked out of the passage, she saw the same dungeon as before. There were also people locked up in the dungeon, but they seemed to have been locked up for a long time. Their clothes were tattered and they looked at her with numb eyes. Shi Shang took advantage of the light and opened the thing that Shadowless stuffed into her hand. Shi Shang, are you sure you're not messing with I? Even Kandinsky wouldn't be able to recognize such an abstract painting. Asterisk note. Kandinsky Vasily Kandinsky was one of the greatest figures in modern art. He was also the founder of modern abstract art in theory and practice. I don't know him either. Ha 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 from Baidu. Chapter 1834. You want to find the person based on this painting? Shi Shang shook the painting and said in a weird tone, which terrible artist drew this? Even I, a terrible artist, drew better than this. Sure enough, there was no harm without comparison. With this comparison, Shi Shang was full of confidence in his terrible drawing skills. That's why I haven't been able to find the person after so many years. Shadowless smiled and shrugged. Shi Shang. Isn't this more like boarding a pirate ship? If anyone could find the person based on this painting, she would live stream butt-face eating the keyboard. What did I do to offend you? Why am I always the one who gets attacked? I'm not convinced. I'm not convinced. Who told you not to be mine? I'm speechless. Is it too late to betray you now? The person Shadowless was looking for didn't seem to be here either. He continued to walk forward and pass through a tunnel. It was the same dungeon, but the people here were different from the ones outside. They all had the aura of otherworldly masters. Ruan Jima and Miracle Dr. Huayang were also locked here. It's you. Miracle Dr. Huayang's pupils shrank. Miracle Dr. Huayang sat with his legs crossed. Even though he was in jail, he didn't look like he was in a sorry state at all. He was indeed an otherworldly expert. What a coincidence. Shi Shang smiled and greeted him. Miracle Dr. Huayang. He was locked up in here, and she was standing outside smiling and greeting him. What was so funny? Coincidence my ass. The first time they met was in his territory. When she faced him, this little girl's face was also calm, as if nothing could arouse the ripples in her eyes. The second time they met was at the sword competition field. She looked like she wanted to see the world in chaos, but in fact, her eyes were as calm as usual. What are you doing here? Miracle Dr. Huayang told himself to calm down and not to argue with this little girl. I'm just passing by. Shi Shang really walked past their cell. Qing Yuan. Ruan Jima suddenly shouted. She didn't seem to have any strength. She struggled to move to the edge of the cell, grabbed the wooden door, and glared at Shi Shang. Does this have anything to do with you? She didn't believe in such a coincidence. They were locked up here, and she happened to pass by. Shi Shang took an exaggerated step back. Don't slander me. I don't have the ability to catch you. The female lead Sama has to be responsible for her words, so don't speak carelessly. If I wanted to make a move on you, I would have killed you directly instead of locking you up here and waiting for someone to save you. I'm not a fool. It's not you? Ruan Gmo didn't seem to believe it. Then let us out. Shi Shang raised his eyebrows. Let you out? Are you kidding me? It's good enough that I didn't stab you with my sword. Shi Shang suddenly paused. She swung her iron sword, her eyes filled with a sinister smile. Why don't I give you a ride? If the original owner wanted to teach Ruan Jima a lesson, killing her would be the same lesson. It was convenient and simple. Host, calm down. This is the female lead, not a random passerby. You'll be struck. Shi Shang did not mind. It was not like she had never been struck by lightning before. She was already used to it. Ruan Mo's face was pale. She moved back. Qing Yuan, you're taking advantage of me. I'm a gentleman who doesn't take advantage of others. I'm sorry, but who told me to be a woman? Shi Shang smiled and walked towards the cell door. Presumptuous. Miracle Doctor Huayang scolded. Now that the enemy is in front of us, you don't unite to help. Instead, you add insult to injury. Is this the rule of the colored glass sect? If your sect leader knew about this, he wouldn't be at peace. Shi Shang didn't care about Miracle Doctor Huayang at all. He couldn't move now. It would be a waste of time to deal with him. Let's kill the female lead first. Swish. The iron sword fell from the sharp edge of the cell door. Ruan Gmo was very close to the cell door, so the iron sword cut her arm. Ruan Gmo felt pain and let out a suppressed scream. She rolled and moved closer to the cell next door. When she cut down, the resistance was a bit strong. Shi Shang's hand was numb from the shock. She slowed down, raised the sword again, and slashed at the female lead. Several times in a row, she only caused superficial injuries to the female lead. If it wasn't the resistance, then the female lead would roll on the ground to avoid the iron sword. At this time, she was leaning against the innermost cell door, gasping for breath. Shi Shang's iron sword was not long enough to reach her. If I can't cut her, I'll blow her up. Qing Yuan, you still say that you have nothing to do with this. You're the one who caught us, right? Ruan Gmo raised her head and shouted at Shi Shang. What do you want? Shi Shang took out an energy ball, stepped back, and threw it into the cell. Ruan Gmo's words were drowned out by the sound of the explosion. The ground trembled and the whole ground suddenly began to sink. Not only the cell, but the place where she was standing also began to sink. F***ck. The female lead was F***king cheated again. Shi Shang steadied himself and looked for traces of Shadowless. He was standing in a cell a little further away. He seemed to be stunned by the sudden sinking of the ground. He stood there in a daze until Shi Shang grabbed his arm. Mayor, what did you do? Why did the ground collapse just when he was looking for someone? Wasn't she arguing with those two people just now? Shi Shang wrapped his arms around his waist. Nothing, just an explosion. She stepped on the falling stones and tried to jump to the entrance of the tunnel. But before she could jump over, the ground above also began to collapse. Chapter 1835. Shi Shang said it casually, but Shadowless suddenly felt bad. This feeling came suddenly and out of nowhere. Why would he feel bad for a stranger? They didn't know how many ruins there were. Shi Shang could only protect Shadowless first before bringing him out. With the iron sword leading the way, it wasn't hard for them to get out. Shi Shang carried Shadowless to a safe place. The luminous pearl shone on their surroundings. They were standing in the middle of a ruin. At the end of the ruin, there was a passage leading to somewhere else. They didn't know if the person who fell from the dungeon was buried there or what. But the female lead shouldn't die so easily. Shadowless glanced at Shi Shang. She looked normal. He didn't know where she was hurt. Castellan. Shadowless moved his body. Can you let go of me? If you keep doing this, I'll feel like you're taking advantage of me. Shi Shang raised the luminous pearl in front of him. Shadowless's eyes lit up. Her blurry face became clear too. She said, I'm taking advantage of you. What's wrong? Shadowless. She didn't have any restraint at all. He could only... Not really. Shadowless also felt strange. In the past, if anyone dared to touch him, he would chop off their claws. But this woman in front of him, hugging him like this, he didn't feel bad at all. That was strange. Shi Shang gave the luminous pearl to Shadowless. Shadowless held the fist-sized luminous pearl and clicked his tongue. Castellan, where did you get this luminous pearl? It was so big and bright. I picked it up. Shi Shang went down the ruin first. Give me your hand. There were so many luminous pearls in the host's space. He really suspected that she picked it up. Shadowless glanced at her and handed his hand over. Shi Shang led him down the ruin and into the passage. Shadowless walked behind them and saw the blood-soaked clothes on Shi Shang's back. It was a big patch. Was she hurt? Shi Shang went into the passage and immediately stopped to treat the wound. She didn't avoid Shadowless and started to bandage the wound. It was on her back, but it wasn't difficult for her to bandage it. Shadowless tossed the luminous pearl with one hand. The light flickered, and her figure became blurry. When Shi Shang finished applying the medicine and was about to bandage the wound, Shadowless put down the luminous pearl in his hand. If you don't mind, can I help you? Shi Shang looked back at him with a strange look in his eyes, as if he had seen something strange. She handed him the bandage in her hand. Shadowless took it and stood behind her. Shadowless lowered his eyes and wrapped his arms around Shi Shang, hugging her. He tilted his head slightly and his warm lips brushed against Shi Shang's earlobe. City Lord, I'm curious. What's your motive? Was she really willing to give up her life for him? He didn't believe it. Shi Shang answered calmly, My purpose is simple, you. Shadowless let go of her. The bandage wrapped around her Shi Shang and wrapped around her body. Then, he hugged her again. I wonder if it's my body or my life? Both. Shadowless chuckled and quickly bandaged the wound. After tying a knot, he said softly, City Lord, you're greedy. You want my body and my life. Shi Shang put on his clothes and turned around with a faint smile. I'm only greedy for you. Shadowless felt like he was possessed, especially after Shi Shang said, I'm only greedy for you. However, the person who said it acted as if nothing had happened. Shadowless's gaze landed on her back occasionally. Didn't she feel pain? A normal girl would have cried and screamed with such a hideous wound, but she didn't even frown. I'm Wang Shu, Shadowless suddenly said. Wang Shu as in Yao Ling Hua Shi Mai, Yen Zhu Ji Wang Shu. Shi Shang turned around. Her palm-sized face was still as calm as ever. She stretched her hand behind her back. The luminous pearl's light shone on her hand, as if it was coated with a layer of dreamy light. Every finger seemed to have been carefully carved. Shadowless raised his brows slightly. After a few seconds, he stretched his hand out. Her hand was a little cold, but very soft. That softness seemed to be able to melt his heart. The two walked in silence. After walking for some time, they finally saw light in front of them. It was also a dungeon. It wasn't very big and only held one person. The dungeon was made of metal and was much more complicated than the wooden dungeon from before. A white-haired old man was chained up. His back was facing them as he faced the wall. His head was lowered. Wang Shu approached the dungeon and called softly, Yi Zheng. Clatter. The chains around the old man rattled. The old man slowly turned his head. His face was covered with old scars. One of his eyes was blind and the other seemed to be blind as well. However, he was looking in the direction of Shi Shang and Wang Shu. Who are you? The old man's voice was hoarse, as if a pair of hands were strangling his throat. This name hasn't been called for many years. Who are you? Where did you hear this name? Castellan, I think I found the person I'm looking for. Wang Shu turned around and smiled faintly. Shi Shang. This person didn't seem to be related to the portrait at all. Not only did the appearance not match, even the age didn't match. How the hell did he find this person? Take them away. This place wasn't safe. Wang Shu obviously agreed with Shi Shang. Who are you? Yi Zheng's emotions fluctuated. Who exactly are you? Why are you looking for me? Wang Shu glanced at the metal dungeon. This, clang, the dungeon door fell down. The girl holding the sword was slowly sheathing her sword. She looked so relaxed as if she had just chopped an insignificant plant. Wang Shu silently added in his heart. How was he going to open this? Yi Zheng could only rely on his ears. He tilted his ear and heard the dull sound of the dungeon door falling to the ground. You actually opened the door. Who exactly are you? Shi Sheng went forward to cut the iron chains that bound Yi Zheng. However, under Yi Zheng's continuous questioning, he put a gunny sack over his head. Wang Shu. You're really taking him away? Where did you get the gunny sack? Shi Sheng dragged the gunny sack and threw it at Wang Shu's feet. Let's go. Wang Shu accepted his fate and carried the gunny sack, following Shi Sheng out of the dungeon. Shi Sheng didn't go back the way they came. Instead, he used the strange sword to cut a path out. The final exit was behind the Five Peaks Mountain. Just as they were some distance away from the Five Peaks Mountain, the mountain suddenly collapsed. There was a loud crash, and dust and gravel flew everywhere. Note: Yao Ling suddenly moved west, the burning candle followed by Wang Shu, from Wei Chao Pai's Meng Jin poem. Many people have used the name Wang Shu before, but that doesn't stop it from sounding good. I'll use it. Wu Ying was named by the people of Jianghu. In this world, Feng Xi's real name was Wang Shu. Chapter 1836. Shi Sheng was dumbfounded as he watched the Wufing Mountain collapse. Why did it collapse again? It's all because of the host. How dare he ask why it collapsed again? What does it have to do with me? I've struck mountains before. Why didn't they collapse? Shi Sheng couldn't help but roll his eyes. It must be because the mountains in this world were weak. Please, host. This mountain is full of traps. It's very fragile. If you strike it again, what can it do if it doesn't collapse? It can even go to the sky. Shi Sheng. So this plane could collapse mountains just because of a disagreement? Then let's just collapse a few more. I don't know if I should curse. Just as Shi Sheng was watching the collapse of the Wufing Mountain, a group of people flew over and surrounded them. Ziwei Gongzi, dressed in snow-white clothes, stepped on the shoulders of the Ziwei Villa disciples. He emitted a cold immortal aura and landed in front of them very pretentiously. Have the people of the Ziwei Villa learned how to rob people? Wang Shu sneered. His eyes were full of disdain and dislike for Ziwei Gongzi. Wu Ying, hand over Yi Zheng. Ziwei Gongzi didn't respond to Wang Shu's words. He went straight to the point. I found him. You want him? Wang Shu raised his eyebrows playfully. I'd rather kill him than leave him to you. Ziwei Gongzi's expression changed slightly. There was a hint of nervousness in his cold eyes. Obviously, he felt that Wang Shu was a man of his words. Ziwei Gongzi paused for a few seconds. Let's make a deal. Wang Shu laughed out loud. The mockery in his tone was even stronger. A scum like me wouldn't dare to make a deal with you. Shi Sheng didn't want to listen to their nonsense. He stepped on the iron sword and dragged Wang Shu up. With a whoosh, they flew into the sky. Ziwei Gongzi, they knew Qinggong, but they couldn't fly so high with a whoosh. Also, the iron sword was extremely fast. In the blink of an eye, it was already out of sight. Village Lord, that sword. Ziwei Gongzi waved his hand. The people behind him immediately fell silent. He looked into the sky and didn't speak for a long time. Manor Lord, Shadowless got there first. What should we do now? The people behind couldn't help but ask. It's useless even if you have Yi Zheng, young Master Ziwei said coldly. Then, he turned around and left using his Qinggong. The people of Ziwei Villa looked at each other. But without Yi Zheng, it would be even more useless. Shi Sheng returned to the previous courtyard. Xiao Li was in the middle of ordering people to transport the last box of gold back to the Dead Spirit City. Seeing that Shi Sheng had returned, she excitedly rushed forward. City Lord, you're back? How is it? Do you know who captured them? Shi Sheng slid down from the iron sword. I don't know. Hey, City Lord, did you really snatch back the bandit chief's wife? Xiao Li saw Wang Shu and immediately threw the previous question to the back of her mind. Wang Shu. What did he mean by snatching back the mistress of the stronghold? Was there a wife as handsome as her? Get to work. Shi Shang glared at her. Xiao Li stuck out her tongue and removed the trouble on the iron sword. What is this thing? Why is it moving? Human. Xiao Li's expression stiffened. City Lord, are we going to start a kidnapping business now? The city lord had clearly said before that he didn't want to do kidnapping business because he thought it was troublesome. Shi Shang continued to glare at her. Xiao Li touched her head and dragged the sack to the room next door. Shi Shang looked at Wang Shu, who was still sitting on the iron sword. I'll get the person back for you. For the next month, stay by my side obediently. Do you understand? In his time alone, he must deal with this idiot. Why not? Wang Shu smiled frivolously. Wang Shu stayed in the small courtyard like this. He spent a few hours every day going to Yi Zheng's room, but it was obvious that the conversation was not very pleasant. Wang Shu did not get the information he wanted. On the contrary, the outside world was in an uproar. Wufing Mountain suddenly collapsed. Many of those Jianghu people were buried under it, but a few days later, some people came out. They were lucky to find a passage that did not collapse. This passage may have been left for the people who built that place to escape, so it was much more secretive than ordinary passages. But there were also people trapped inside. The Jianghu people worked together to dig the mountain. Saving people was the most important thing. The mountain collapsed. They dug for several days before they found one person, but that person was already dead. The deeper they dug, the more corpses there were. Most people were dead, and only a few people were found alive. It was too time-consuming to dig later, and so much time had passed. It was impossible for the people below to be alive, so everyone gave up digging. Now that they were free, they finally had the time to gather together to discuss who had captured them and why they had been captured. However, no one knew that the people who caught them all masked their faces. After they were locked up, there were only people patrolling every day. There was no leader at all. This matter was like a mystery. There was no news about why Wufing Mountain collapsed. Instead, there was another news in the Jianghu. Qing Yuan, the city lord of the Dead Spirit City, was very likely to have an evil sword. There were 3 famous evil swords in the Jianghu. They were Ni Yuan, Ghost Weep, and Windmark. These 3 evil swords were not from the same period, but they had set off a bloody storm in the Jianghu. The famous righteous sects disdained them, but because of their powerful power, many people in the Jianghu still flocked to them. They were accompanied by killing, blood, and death. It was rumored that the city lord of the Dead Spirit City, Qing Yuan's sword, was one of the 3 great evil swords, Ghost Weep. As for why they were so sure, no one knew. City Lord, is your sword really Ghost Weep? After Xiao Li finished gossiping, she began to gossip about Shi Shang's sword. I heard that Ghost Weep is the most powerful of the 3 great evil swords. How powerful? Xiao Li said. Oh. She only heard that it was the most powerful, but she really didn't know how powerful it was. Once Ghost Weep is used, all ghosts will weep, and even gods and Buddhas will fear it. Wang Shu's voice came from outside the door. A purple figure flashed in, and in the blink of an eye, he was sitting next to Shi Shang. It's a very powerful sword. So powerful. Shi Shang raised his eyebrows. Wang Shu smiled and supported his chin. Ni Yuan and Windmark are very powerful, but it depends on who is in their hands. In the hands of ordinary people, they are just puppets controlled by them. In my hands. How? Dominating the Jianghu is a piece of cake. Wang Shu said narcissistically. Dominating the Jianghu? Wang Shu glanced at Shi Shang from the corner of his eyes. Isn't that enough? Shi Shang slammed the iron sword on the table and said boldly and arrogantly, dominating the world with it is not a problem. Wang Shu reached out and took the iron sword. He kept looking at Shi Shang from the corner of his eyes, but Shi Shang didn't react. He took the iron sword in his hand. It was very light, as if he wasn't holding the sword at all. However, every time he saw her swing the sword, it seemed to be very heavy. "What's this sword called?" Wang Shu's fingertips brushed across the iron sword. The uneven ancient pattern under his fingertips was familiar, as if he had seen it somewhere before. Shi Sheng smiled. Misfortune. Chapter 1837. The iron sword was infuriated by the sudden change to a name that was not domineering at all. It buzzed and vibrated. Wang Shu looked at the iron sword in amazement. He knew that the sword was magical, but he didn't expect it to have its own consciousness. The reason why the three swords were so powerful was because they had their own consciousness. If one wanted to obtain them, they had to gain their approval. But the name Hua Shi, why did it feel like she was just making it up? It wasn't possible, it was just her making it up. Shi Sheng asked Shaoli to leave and asked Wang Shu, "What did you find out?" "Nothing," he didn't say a word. Wang Shu sighed. "Then kill him." Wang Shu looked at Shi Sheng in horror. "City Lord, there's only one Yi Zheng in this world." So? So what if there was only one Yi Zheng? There's only one Shi Sheng on top of me. Wang Shu stared at the woman in front of him. There was only one word to describe her: indifference. Her eyes were empty and she did not care about anything in this world. What kind of environment could nurture such a person? Wang Shu supported himself on the table and leaned closer to Shi Sheng. "City Lord, I'm very curious. What do you care about?" Shi Sheng's lips curled up slightly. His face suddenly enlarged in Wang Shu's eyes. A soft touch spread from his lips, with a touch of warmth and a girl's fragrance. That kiss was like a dragonfly skimming the surface of the water. She quickly pulled away. Wang Shu swallowed and sat back down. He turned his head to look elsewhere. "City Lord, what do you mean by this?" "I'm proving to you what I care about." Wang Shu's cheeks suddenly heated up. Something fiercely hit his heart. Like a deer running around uncontrollably, his heart thumped wildly. It also felt like something was pressing down on it. It was unbearable and dull. Wang Shu's fingertips tapped on his chest. He licked his dry lips. "City Lord, you care about me? What do you think?" Wang Shu suddenly stood up and walked a few steps. His voice returned to its usual frivolity. "Then this young master is really honored." He quickly left the room. The gaze behind him made him feel like he was walking on a line and would fall down. And below him was her. Yi Zhang noticed that the young man who had been asking him questions before was exceptionally quiet today. Although he could not see, he could hear. He had been in the room the whole time, but he did not say a word. He did not even look at him. It was very strange. He was locked up here. Other than this young man, no one else could see him. Previously, he was still talking, so there was still some life in the room. Now that he was so quiet, Yi Zhang was not used to it. Cough, cough. Yi Zhang pretended to cough a few times. The person on the other side ignored him and didn't even lift his eyelids. Cough, cough. He ignored her. Cough, 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 cough. He continued to ignore her. "What's wrong with you?" Yi Zhang couldn't help but ask. "I might have fallen in love with a girl." Wang Shu did not look at Yi Zhang. He was still looking at the void. Yi Zhang snorted. "If you like her, then you like her. What's there to be conflicted about?" Wang Shu put down the finger that was caressing her lips. "The point is, I haven't known her for long. Why do I feel like I've fallen in love with her?" Wang Shu muttered the last sentence very softly, but with Yi Zhang's hearing, he heard it clearly. "Love comes easily. Who can stop it? It's normal to fall in love at first sight." Yi Zhang spoke in an experienced tone. "Back then, I fell in love with my wife the first time I saw her. If I didn't pester her, she wouldn't have married me." Yi Zhang rambled on, telling his wife how he met her, fell in love, and got married as if he was telling a story. He did not care if Wang Shu was listening or not. There wasn't a single word that could accurately describe love. It was easy to fall in love with someone. Perhaps it was because of a sentence or an action. It was also easy to dislike someone. Perhaps it was because of a broken promise, or perhaps it was because of a side of him that no one knew. One was daydreaming, the other was talking to himself. The room was unusually harmonious. Yi Zheng suddenly sighed. If she didn't marry me, she might have ended up like that. I let her down. Liking someone is not scary because you can choose not to like them. But love is different. There is no turning back. There was no turning back. Wang Shu's eyes flashed. He straightened his body. Old Senior Yi, are you really not willing to tell me? Yi Zheng's expression turned cold. I said I don't know. Don't ask me again. You won't hear anything from me. Old Senior Yi, you've kept this secret for decades. Why? Then I won't tell you people either. Yi Zheng snorted. If you want to stir up a storm in the pugilistic world again, I'll be the first to disagree. Those people imprisoned me for so many years and I didn't say a word. Don't waste your energy. Us people? Wang Shu repeated in a low voice. You don't know who I am? No matter who you are, I won't tell you. Yi Zheng was firm. Wang Shu still didn't get anything out of him. Yi Zheng was just as he said. He didn't say anything even after being tortured by those people who captured him. He wouldn't easily tell him what he wanted to know. Wang Shu left the room and saw the woman sitting on the rocking chair in the yard. He narrowed his eyes and walked up. City Lord, why don't you do me a favor? What are you going to use as payment? Shi Shang looked up. His clear eyes reflected Wang Shu's figure. The blue sky and white clouds formed a world of their own, and he was the only scenery in that world. Wang Shu's heart skipped a beat. He smiled and said, Use me as payment. Deal. Wang Shu choked. City Lord, aren't you going to ask me what I want you to help me with? Shi Shang pulled his sleeve and got up. He leaned half of his body into Wang Shu's arms. It doesn't matter what it is. As long as it's something you want to do, I'll help you. Then can I not pay you? Shi Shang immediately straightened his body and sneered. In your dreams, City Lord, didn't you say that as long as I want to do something, you'll help me? But I didn't say anything unconditional. Shi Shang patted Wang Shu's shoulder. Young man, prepare to bathe and repay me with your body. Even if you want the stars in the sky, I'll pluck them for you. Wang Shu. He met someone who was more blindly confident than him. In the future, the pugilistic world couldn't say that he was arrogant and condescending, right? Asterisk, this is a fake group. Little fairy, you're my dearest. Even if you want the stars in the sky, I'll pluck them for you. Cherub, little fairy, do you see the stars in the sky? That's my most affectionate love for you. Do you see the gentle breeze blowing across the hills? That's my most sincere blessing for you. Cherub, emotionless face, speak human. Little fairy, vote for me. System, the little fairy who's asking for votes every day. Chapter 1838. Shi Shang stood at the gate, looking at the sky with melancholy. Mayor, let's go. Wang Shu came out with his sword. We can't leave. Shi Shang opened the gate with melancholy. A group of people surrounded the courtyard. They were none other than the people from Ziwei Villa. As soon as he opened the gate, he saw the people from Ziwei Villa. Wang Shu turned around calmly and went to take Yi Zheng out of the room, handing him over to the people from Ziwei Villa. Ziwei Villa. They got him so easily? Was it a trap? Don't want him? Wang Shu raised his eyebrows. Then I'll kill him. The people from Ziwei Villa immediately took Yi Zheng. They looked at each other silently, communicating something with their eyes, then retreated in different directions. Once the people from Ziwei Villa retreated, another group of people rushed over from different directions. Qing Yuan is here. Qing Yuan, hand over Ghost Weep. Ghost Weep is mine. Mine. Shi Shang. This was the first time she was chased to her door after the rumor that she had something called Ghost Weep. She didn't have Ghost Weep, but she did have an iron sword that could kill without blinking. She just didn't know if these people could withstand it. Let I teach you how to be human. Shi Shang took out the iron sword and rushed towards the group of people. Someone was looking for trouble? Damn it. Run if you can't win. Wang Shu. How could a girl be so violent? Shaoli heard the noise and led the people from Dead Spirit City out. Without Shi Shang's command, they excitedly joined in the scuffle. The group of people were beaten until they cried for their parents. Those who could run ran away, but those who couldn't could only lie on the ground and pretend to be dead. It was said that Dead Spirit City's fighting power was strong. Today they finally saw what it meant to be strong. Drag out the people on the ground and throw them away. Shi Shang waved his hand domineeringly. Hit them a few more times, lest they pretend to be dead. The people who pretended to be dead on the ground. F***ck, this woman was too hateful. She didn't even let those who pretended to be dead off. Okay. Shaoli responded crisply. Since they dared to steal the mayor's things, it's not too much to cut them into pieces. The person playing dead on the ground. Boss, I was wrong. Can you wake up now? How could there be such a cruel woman? Go back to the Dead Spirit City. Shi Shang stepped on the clean ground and stood outside. If someone comes to make trouble, don't hesitate. City Lord, where are you going? Shaoli was puzzled. You're not taking me? Of course not. Why would I bring a third wheel? Shaoli glanced at Wang Shu, who was walking towards the Shi Shang from the corner of her eyes. She laughed mischievously. Take care, City Lord. Come back often. Shi Shang was speechless. He made it sound as if I was getting married. After leaving this place, more and more people came after her. Most of them were after Ghost Weep. There was a type of person who clearly knew that they couldn't afford to offend the other party, but in the bottom of their hearts, they hid a trace of luck and risked their lives to fight a battle. Perhaps they might succeed. Shi Shang didn't know who had released the news, but it wasn't difficult to figure out the intention. There were two obvious reasons. First, use her as a diversion. Second, they really wanted to kill her. Right now, the entire martial arts world's attention was on the iron sword in her hands. Not many people cared about the matter of the major sects being captured. She had offended too many people. She didn't know who did it. What's there to be proud of? He didn't understand why the host was so happy that the whole world was her enemy. Maybe all perverts had this thought? How scary. Master, I need the body insurance. Wang Shu's destination was still on a mountain. Wang Shu had asked Shi Shang to come with the purpose of splitting the mountain. The scenery on this mountain was beautiful. It was surrounded by mountains and streams. It was simply a paradise on earth. Wang Shu leaned against a blooming peach tree. The wind blew pink petals from the tree crown. Just as they were about to land on the ground, they suddenly spun and flew into the air. Wang Shu's eyes reflected the dancing peach blossoms and his voice was as clear as a mountain stream. There's a trap at the bottom of the mountain called the 10 consecutive turns trap. It's the E family specialty and no one else knows how to use it except the E family. Other than the E family, there's only Yi Zheng left in this world. Wang Shu told Shi Shang a tragic story. In this era where swordsmanship prevailed, mechanisms were regarded as unorthodox. However, one day, someone used mechanisms to ambush several famous swordsmen in the martial arts world. This person's surname was Yi. Powerful mechanisms were not only inanimate, they could also be alive. The man with the surname Yi used mechanisms to quickly establish his status in the martial arts world. He married the most beautiful woman in the martial arts world and the two of them formed the Yi family together. From then on, the Yi family, which focused on mechanisms, survived in this era where swordsmanship prevailed. Perhaps everyone in the Yi family had this talent and were very good at mechanisms. Even a child would be very good at them. The Yi family's reputation gradually spread. There were many talents in the family, each more powerful than the last. Then, one year, a demon appeared in the martial arts world. He somehow found the 3 evil swords. He led his subordinates and used the 3 evil swords to wreak havoc in the martial arts world. One evil sword was enough to cause a bloodbath, not to mention 3 of them. In the end, the demon was subdued. What to do with the 3 iron sword became a problem. In order to prevent anyone else from getting their hands on them, the martial artists invited the Yi family to set up a trap that no one but the Yi family could dispel. The 3 evil swords then disappeared. Wang Shu slowly walked towards Shi Shang and pressed her against a tree trunk. He lowered his eyes to look at her. The place I want to go is in the middle of the area protected by the 10 winding traps. If you can solve the trap, my body and soul will belong to you. Shi Shang looked at him calmly. Is it worth it to sell yourself for such a small thing? Wang Shu lifted Shi Shang's chin and kissed her lips. The peach blossom tree rustled and pink petals fell between them. Wang Shu tossed and turned a few times. It's worth it to sell myself to you. Since he liked her, he would get her by hook or by crook. Although he did not know why he liked her, he was willing to follow his heart. Shi Shang pressed against his chest and leaned back. How did the Yi family die? What's the relationship between Lu Guang's sect and the Yi family? Colored Light Sect. Wang Shu tilted his head. The Yi family was besieged and exterminated by the righteous path of the martial arts world. Many years after the 3 iron swords were placed in the 10 winding mechanism, the younger generation of the Yi family learned of this rumor. Their ambitions swelled and they tried to unlock the mechanism. In order to stop this, the martial arts world's righteous sects killed everyone from the Yi family. They found an excuse for themselves, saying that it was for the good of the martial arts world. If the evil swords were to appear again, there would be rivers of blood. It would not be just the Yi family that would die. So, the martial arts world agreed to eradicate the Yi family, the only family that could solve the trap. Not a single woman or child was spared. You're tuning in to the Narrate and Escape YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.